A moonlit night hangs high above the palace roof. A cold wind whips across the blood-stained courtyard. Below in the courtyard, a figure swings a weapon, creating a blazing red arc, cutting through the fallen bodies. A scream rips through the air. Blood splatters on the stone floor. The man is panicking, his eyes ice cold. He looks around at the pile of corpses, his hands trembling with helplessness. A figure sits on the roof cackling. A contemptuous voice echoes across the courtyard. Ha ha ha, you call yourself the head of the Qianmu family. Yet all you know is that basic straight thrust, with that mediocre spear technique of yours. Have you forgotten the famed 13 swords technique? On second thought, that technique was only passed down to this punk, right? Looks like his mind really is gone. Even his own kin. He can slaughter them without a second thought. You bastards of the Flying Dragon Squad, tisk tisk. He is Yu-Tang, leader of the Blood Demon, cult the Blood Lantern Phantom. He glances at the woman and adds, "Oh, I forgot. What about this kid?" "Good. Looks like I made the right choice. Come here and try to kill this brat as cruelly as you can." Qianmu Jin, the last head of the Qianmu family. And the woman holding the sword is Qianmu Yeonha of the Qianmu family. Qianmu Jin stumbles, looking at the spiritual figures behind him. He thinks, "I'm sorry, Captain." The captain's blue shadow approaches, placing a hand gently on his shoulder. Qianmu Jin flinches in fear. "What? I already told you. Doing your best is enough. The outcome is not your burden."
"Chin up, Jin."
He grits his teeth, thinking, "Captain, you once said, as long as you don't give up until the very end, even if you lose, you're not a failure." "Right. Then I'll fight until the very last moment. If I let them capture me, I'll just become Yu-Tang's puppet. I can't let that happen." He looks up at the dark sky, his eyes bloodshot. "All right, I'm going to die anyway. In that case, I'll die by my own will." Seeing this, Yu-Tang frowns and growls, "You bastard! What do you think you're doing?" Qianmu Jin's eyes blaze as he replies, "You can kill me, but you won't be able to use my corpse. And I will absolutely not let you live in peace. Even as a ghost, I'll find a way to kill you." With that, he runs his own sword through his body, blood spraying everywhere. Yu-Tang yells, "Know this, bastard!" Qianmu Jin maintains a defiant smile, determined to end things on his own terms. His breath catches. A choked string of regrets echoes in his mind. "If I knew it would end like this, I would have lived a better life. I wouldn't have made excuses, running away because I didn't want to fight my brothers. I would have let go and shown my true strength." The night cracks into a purple vortex. A thunderous roar rips through. "Hey, kid!" Qianmu Jin is startled. "This voice is—" A bright light erupts. "This kid, do you have anything to say for yourself?" The familiar shout hits him. Qianmu Jin opens his eyes. He is kneeling in the main hall, his hands tied his body, young and chubby. Is this a dream? Qianmu Zhong, head of the Qianmu family. He thinks to himself, "Father, since that day, I haven't seen you. It's already been 15 years. Then Qianmu Jin stammers, "Father." He looks down, astonished at his own round hands. The family head growls, "Your silence means you admit to killing the third. Young master of the Don family, the one who was to be your brother-in-law. Is that right?" Qianmu Jin is speechless. The thought hits him. Brother-in-law. I killed Don Hasang, my only friend. It's been over 15 years since the day he died. A vague memory flashes by a night of drunken revelry. That day I had no reason, and no ability to do such a thing. Could it be I've returned to the very day I was framed for killing my only friend? He looks up and explains, "I don't remember." The family head roars like thunder. "You fool, you useless waste! You call that an answer? How am I supposed to apologize to the head of the Don family? Should I just kill you and send them your corpse?" Three figures step forward, all of them smirking. Qianmu Seung, the eldest son. Qianmu Jok, the second son. Qianmu Gi, the fourth son. Qianmu Jiok smirks. "Or we could just cripple him and hand him over alive. Let them take their anger out on him." Qianmu Seung adds, "No, just kick him out to the family. They'll deal with him themselves." Qianmu Gi suggests, "Or send our third brother to the demonic cult front lines." The Martial Arts Alliance just requested one person from the direct line to be sent to the front. He's going to die sooner or later. Might as well give him a chance to be useful. That way we don't have to go to the battlefield. Right before Qianmu Jin's eyes is the cruelty and scheming of his own brothers. He thinks to himself, "That's right. That way you won't have to go to the front lines. The demonic cult front lines, the border where the Martial Arts Alliance holds back the Blood Demon cult. In the south, about 15 years ago, the Blood Demon cult and the Alliance clashed head-on. People called it the Great War of Blood and Tears. After many back-and-forth battles, the Alliance barely managed to stop their advance into the Central Plains, but Yunnan was already lost and couldn't be reclaimed. Since then, they've been recruiting volunteer warriors from Yunnan to specifically guard and hold back the Blood Demon cult. And that place is called the Blood Demon Frontline. But that's old news. Now the Alliance is just trying to scrape together one person, from the direct line of each sect to send to the front. Originally, with my weak martial arts, I wouldn't have been conscripted. But thanks to this murder charge, they have an excuse to get rid of me. Someone no one would miss if I died. For my brothers, it couldn't be a more convenient situation. One of them must have set up this frame job. Father concludes he must be escorted to the front lines. Exactly the same decision from my old memories when I was 21. Tonight, 2 people will come to see me in the dungeon. This time I absolutely must seize that opportunity. A trembling female voice calls out softly, "Brother Jin, are you okay?" Before the iron bars is a brown-haired girl with a ribbon. Cheonmu Yonha of the Cheonmu family. He smiles. "I'm fine. What about you, little sister? Are you all right?" She shakes her head. "How could I be okay? What could possibly happen to me? But I believe you're not the culprit." The main character thinks, before all I could do was cry, and thank her endlessly. Then he replies, "That's right, I'm not the culprit." But she hesitates slightly. "Ah, yes." He asks further, What is it, sister?" She continues, "It's just, why are you so sure?" The main character answers quietly, "Because the victim was my only brother in arms, and also your fiancé." "I had no reason to." Most importantly, at that time, Brother Doan and I were facing each other in a duel. So how did my sword, which I wasn't even carrying, end up in his back? Her eyes widen. Then why earlier, did you speak as if you were admitting guilt in front of Father? He exhales and answers, "Because going to this front line seems like a better choice for me." She gasps, startled. "What?" "From my childhood. My mother died early and my maternal relatives couldn't help. I had to fend for myself to survive. I had a good memory, so I was sometimes called a prodigy. But to survive, I had to pretend to be stupid. But that method was self-destructive. By the time I realized it, I had become a real idiot, only able to smile sheepishly when mocked, as the shame of the family. That's who I was for the past 21 years. To change, I had to leave home and go to the front lines, meet that person along with the Flying Dragon Squad's Seol Pung. But something is different. Yeonha's attitude has changed today. Before she would just hug and console me. Is it because I didn't cry this time? After she leaves, footsteps stop before the iron bars. He turns his head in surprise. "Father." He stands there, his eyes different. The main character thinks, even Father is different from my memories. Before, when he saw me begging to run away, he just sighed and left. The family head's voice rings out. "Were you really framed?" The boy freezes. "Did Father hear what I said to Yonha?" "Just now." He looks closely, then continues, "Cheonmu Jin. I knew you were pretending to be a fool, but I didn't know you wanted to leave the family." "If I had known sooner." He lowers his eyes. "I'm sorry, Cheonmu Jin. Your life is a mess because of this incompetent father." He's stunned. What is happening? Before, whatever I did, no matter how I cried, Father didn't care. And now he's apologizing to me. Could it be because I've changed? That everything else is changing too? What did I do before? Even when I was tortured by my brothers, Father just ignored it. Come to think of it, the influence of my in-laws' family was too great. Even Father, as the family head, had to be cautious and listen to them. The family head stands before the bars and asks softly, "Is there anything you want to ask for?" He looks up. "Then please let me into the family's library for one day." The family head frowns. "The library for just one day." He adds, "I'm ashamed that I don't even know my own family's martial arts." "I don't know. I want to learn something before I go to the front lines. In my past life, I ended up becoming the family head, but because I was so lazy, I knew nothing about the Cheonmu family's martial arts. Therefore, I had to secretly learn other people's martial arts. If I can grasp the family's ultimate technique, the 13 swords, I'll progress very quickly." Father looks at him for a long time, then says, "You want to learn martial arts in one day and just from books?" He smiles. "It's better than not trying." The family head nods slightly. "All right, I'll allow it. But practicing the inner arts on your own is very dangerous. I will teach you directly. Get into a cross-legged position right now." He immediately sits upright, his hands placed before his stomach. "Yes." The family head extends his hand, a blazing red aura radiating out. "What I am passing to you is the primordial chaos art. I will recite the incantation. You memorize it." His voice slowly chants. "In the beginning, yin and yang were born, entering the manifestation of chaos." He's stunned. Primordial chaos art. This is an inner art that only the family head can cultivate. Is Father planning to pass it down to me? I should be happy, but a strange feeling rises in my chest. Both warm and sharp. He wonders, what is this feeling? The next day, the 3 brothers rush to block him. "No way! Father, you're going to let that thing into the library. Please reconsider. If Cheonmu Jin dies without achieving anything, the family's honor will be damaged even more." The family head turns his back, his voice firm. "I've made my decision. Don't bring it up again." They try to say more, but he has already strode away. Anyway, it's just for one day. Inside the library, the main character clasps his hands and thinks happily. Just one day is more than enough. The dusty books smell of old paper sunlight streaming through the windows. Today I'm memorizing martial arts, not to use them right away, but to cram them absolutely into my head. With a memory that never forgets anything I see once, people used to call me a prodigy. At the front lines, I also survived by observing, and then mimicking my comrades' techniques based on memory. Later, Captain Seol Pung even taught me the technique of memorizing a scene. Therefore, everything here today is destined to flow into my head. I will use it without regret, starting with the primordial chaos. Art Father just passed down yesterday, and then the ultimate technique of the Cheon family, the 13 swords. A moment later, he reads until his eyes glaze over, feeling like he's about to die. His body is exhausted, his head is spinning. I've really crammed a lot into my head, but honestly, I barely understood anything about the 13 swords part. This isn't good. I need to go outside for some air and think. He stumbles to his feet and collapses on the grass behind the library. He thinks, should I stop here? Most of what I've read I still don't understand. He lies on the grass panting. Then a group of people walk by talking loudly. How can someone like him possibly learn martial arts? Lazy as a pig by nature. It was his brothers, and with them were two pretty young women. The brown-haired girl looks at the main character and asks, "Is that him?" The eldest brother sneers. "That's my third brother, the shame of the Cheon family. As you can see, young lady, he's more pig than person. Father gave him one day in the library, because he has to go to the demonic cult front lines tomorrow. But look what he's doing here." She tilts her head. "He's going to the demonic cult front lines. Oh, my young lady, please?" The eldest brother adds, "He's not worthy of your attention, young ladies." The second brother chimes in, "That's right. Look at him, is he any different from a pig?" The youngest brother also adds, "He's only going to the front lines to atone for his sins." The main character looks at young Lady Jeggle and thinks, Jiggle, could she be the heavenly sword phoenix? Jeggle Seoyul, the sword genius who just appeared like a comet. I heard she travels to various clans to gain experience, so that's why she's visiting our home. The youngest brother steps forward with a fake smile. "How's your training going? You've been in the family head's private library. Show everyone how much you've progressed." He gives a gentle smile. What difference can one day make? He suddenly lunges forward like an arrow, his fist swinging straight for his face. His reflexes kick in and he jumps up to block the punch. A deep purple energy erupts as he blocks the blow. The youngest brother freezes, his eyes wide. What? But he stands firm thinking, it hurts this much just blocking one punch. I need to get this body in shape fast. The crowd behind them roars with laughter. He got blocked by a pig, what a slow punch. He's leaving the family soon. Let Gi carry the shame of the Cheon family. He lets out a roar and charges, fists flying in a continuous barrage. He presses his palms together, channeling his ki to parry and block defensively. As he turns with each blow, his eyes flash. Wait, this movement is so familiar. That's right. This is the Cheon family's martial art, the Gale 13 forms. He says it out loud. Excellent. The youngest brother is surprised. What? Did you just say excellent? Startled, he laughs awkwardly and waves his hand. Ah, a slip of the tongue. Come on, keep attacking. He glares, the onlookers cheer. Did you hear that Gi-hee said your move was excellent? Quickly hit him some more, a lot more. His face flushes with anger and he roars again as he charges. But he just breathes evenly, memorizing every trajectory, feeling his heavy body, gradually getting used to the rhythm of his fist wind. He roars, die! But he just blocks and observes. The things he didn't understand while reading the manual suddenly become clear. So that's how the movement is? He switches from a fist technique, a fist like a storm, to a continuous kick targeting weak points. That's Raging Dragon breaks the waves. But his execution is offbeat, leaving his lower body wide open. He twists his hip, forming a hand seal. He gathers his ki into a single burst, seizing the opportunity, and pushes it straight into his chest. He stumbles back, his face contorted in pain. Both are panting, sweat dripping. But a little blood spurts from the youngest brother's side. The others purse their lips. The eldest brother clasps his hands and curses. Even a pig gets lucky sometimes. What move did you just use? Show me again. He curses under his breath. Damn it, I'm beat. Lady Jiggle glances over disapprovingly. Bullying someone who's exhausted like that, and ignoring your injured brother. How disappointing. The eldest brother, hearing this, is startled and tries to do damage control. No, I was just about to go check on G's injury. The second brother rushes to help him up, still smirking. The main character watches them go and sighs. This sucks. All this time I've let people like that walk all over me. They disappear from view, leaving the courtyard deserted. He lets himself fall onto the grass, muttering to himself, I have to get this heavy body in shape fast. Just as his eyes close, a dark shadow blocks the sun. He startles and sits up. Ah, father. He's standing right in front of him, his calm eyes watching him sprawled in the courtyard. His heart pounds. He has a feeling that what's about to happen will be different. The main character is flustered and about to make an excuse, but the family head just looks at him and says softly, "You've worked hard, Cheonmu-jin, well done. Of my 4 marriages, only one was because I truly wanted it. Before I thought everything was for the family. Now I'm not so sure." He turns back and asks, "Have you read the manual for the Cheon family's 13 swords?" He's startled and replies, "Yes, sir." The family head nods slightly. "It's been a long time since I've practiced my swordsmanship. Rest for a moment, then continue in the library." With that, he draws his sword. The sword path opens like a flash of lightning, connecting from the first form to the 13th. Then it returns to the first form, the speed increasing. Every turn, every angle of the slash is as clear as if etched into his eyes. He holds his breath, watching. He understands that his father is personally demonstrating the entire 13 swords for him to memorize. He's doing all this for me. Later, he returns to the library. Sitting amidst a mountain of books, he opens the manual and continues reading, matching every word to the sword strokes he just saw in the courtyard. He flips to the last book. I've even read all the ancestors' journals. They left behind many insights, but honestly, I don't understand much. Even the stances are vague. He's about to close the book when he pauses. One edge of the cover is unusually thick. He uses his finger to gently separate the glued layer. As expected, there's something inside. A thin, carefully folded piece of paper slides out. Old ink meticulously notes the variations of the forms. So this is the annotated guide to the fist and sword forms. Night falls on the rooftops, wind whispers through the window frame. Cheonmu Yeonha sits before her mirror. She removes her hair tie and silently looks at her face. She lets out a long sigh. In her mind, an image of Lady Jekyll flashes by. As if jealous of her beauty, her hand tightens on the comb in her hand, causing it to snap. Huh, if only I were a little older. Outside, the servants' whispers grow louder. The 4th young master was beaten and injured by the 3rd young master. He was trying to show off in front of Lady Jekyll, and then fainted right in front of her. How embarrassing. She suddenly stands up and walks into the outer room. The 2 maids jump and kneel down. She threatens them with a cold gaze. What did you just say? Brother Gi was beaten, injured, and knocked unconscious by Brother Jin. The maid replies to her. Yes, young lady, that's right. The 4th young master was defeated and injured by the 3rd young master, Cheonmu-jin. Her eyes flash a slight smirk on her lips. How could that be? In the guest room, the 3rd young lady folds a piece of paper and sets it down. This is the information about the 3rd young master, of the family that you requested. I bought it from a nearby informant. She nods. Thank you. I'll pay you right away. The 3rd young lady shakes her head and smiles. There's no need to be so formal between us. The 3rd young lady is curious. But why do you want to investigate that fat young master? I was so shocked earlier. Someone from a martial arts background with a body like that. His eyes are even squinted from the fat. She nods in response. That's true. The 3rd young lady adds, come to think of it, that person looks a bit like the doll you treasure so much. Could that be why you asked me to investigate? She shakes her head. The push that knocked down the 4th young master was not ordinary. I'm curious about his past. The 3rd young lady ponders. It could just be an accident. She sighs. It could be. The 3rd young lady continues. My martial arts are superior. But your eyes are sharper than mine, so why? Bother with. A fat person who gets out of breath after a few moves, even my master, gives in to your odd curiosity. So how could I possibly understand you? Her eyes light up. I've always wondered, but can you really read? Even with your hair covering most of your eyes. She answers nonchalantly, if I can see it, I can read it. The 3rd young lady asks further, when will you ever lift your bangs? I don't understand why you have to hide that beautiful face. She smiles gently. So do you want me to lift my bangs, sister? The 3rd young lady thinks for a moment, then answers, no. I don't want to share the attention. I'm afraid I'd be jealous of you. Just the thought is terrifying. You don't like to attract attention. I'm really happy to be friends with you. She answers softly, I cherish you too, sister. I like you. Because you're not like the other noble ladies I usually see. Early in the morning, in the large courtyard, servants are bustling about. The family head instructs the main character, for the honor of the family, you must stay healthy and achieve great things. The main character clasps his hands and answers clearly, I will bring honor to the family, and return to visit everyone. Please rest assured, father, I will definitely bring glory to the family and return to visit you. Thank you, Yeonha, for waking up early to see me off. She shakes her head and says, it's only natural when my older brother is going far away. Then she offers a cloth bundle. I made some rice balls for you to eat on the road. He asks in surprise, did you really make these yourself? She nods. but I can't guarantee they're delicious. He smiles. You're the only one who's nice to me. I'll eat them well. The group sets off. A brief note about the main character's little sister. It seems this girl has a pretty twisted mindset, the type who wants others to acknowledge and worship her existence. She's super jealous, wanting to possess or become other people. She imitates Lady Jeagle, pretending to pity the weak to prove her own worth. When she saw the main character, crying like in the past, her attitude completely changed. Leaving the city, the sound of hooves is urgent. He reins in his horse and calls out softly. The whole group slows down. The leader of the escort group, the wandering warrior Zhang Gong Xiong, asks in surprise, Young master, do you want to rest? It's still early. He looks at the group and thinks, this person is the leader. It seems they're worried I'll pull a stunt and refuse to go. Then he suddenly says, from now on I will run to Yunnan. Everyone stops. He continues to lose weight too. A subordinate reminds him hesitantly, no way. That place is very far. Do you intend to run with that body, young master? We understand your determination, young master, but we have a contract. If you arrive there late, we will suffer a great loss. Suddenly he points at the horse and says, what do you think of my horse? He replies, that's a very fine horse. But what does that have to do with anything? Immediately he adds, I will gift this horse to you. A horse like this, if sold at the right price, would fetch a pretty penny, right? He examines the horse and adds, a horse like this is indeed valuable. But in his heart he thinks, just as I expected, he adds, to be honest with you, young master, you could ask any price you want for this horse, but to accept it as a commission fee is too much for us. The main character pauses, surprised. Well, that's an unexpected reaction. The main character bows. My apologies, Warrior Zhang. I have misunderstood an upright man like you. He waves his hand. No, The main character continues. Truthfully, I also know the value of this horse very well, but I still have to go to the front lines, and I won't be able to get its full value. And I worry that if the horse belongs to me, my will to go to battle will weaken, all right? The main character smiles. So let's consider it a win-win. I'll give you this horse, and in return I hope for a few conveniences on the road. He thinks for a moment. The third young master is completely different from the rumors. He nods. All right, since you've paid such a high price, young master, we will also do our best. From then on, the main character's running journey began. From Guiyang and Guizhou to Yunnan, that distance, even riding a horse without stopping, would take 3 days. In his current physical condition, it was surely a harsh challenge. But the main character believed this run would be the catalyst for his rebirth. He tells himself that this life he will be different. Sure enough, he suddenly clutched his stomach and retched, ugh. Lao Zhang was alarmed. Young master, you're not just faking it because you don't want to go, are you? The protagonist frowned and said, what kind of crazy talk is that, ugh? He stood up straight. Rested enough, let's go. The sound of heavy panting echoed along the trail. Ha! In the minds of the escorts, they wondered, is jogging really this hard? He thought to himself, I've been running for less than 30 minutes, and now I don't even have the strength to lift a finger, huh? Suddenly, a handkerchief was offered to him. The young woman walked over, handed him the handkerchief, and said, wipe your sweat. The protagonist was startled. Whoa, you're the young lady. I've just shown you my most pathetic side. She tilted her head. You know me, the protagonist replied. Yesterday I heard the other young ladies call your name. She smiled. Ah, you really do have a good memory. Wipe it. I have a few more, you can keep it. She turned around and called out, keep it up. I'll be rooting for you. The escorts cheered, ooh la la. The young master of the Chen family is really something else. Getting a handkerchief from a lady like that, I'm so jealous. The protagonist thought to himself, that's probably not the reason, but I have to admit I feel a little proud. Let's go again. He clutched his stomach again and retched. Lao Zhang turned his head and said, if it's this bad, let's eat before we go. It seems like we'll be eating outdoors a lot from now on. Night fell and everyone gathered around the fire. The protagonist asked, could you all spare me some food? Why not? But your sister, didn't your sister already prepare your portion? The protagonist chuckled. Her cooking skills aren't that great. It's not fit for human consumption. The whole group burst out laughing. Haha, that makes sense. A beautiful young lady from a prestigious family, who can also cook well. That would be too unfair. Whatever young master marries your sister is in for a tough time. The man sitting next to the protagonist added, are you talking about yourself, Lao Gong? Hearing this, he shouted, you bastard, what did you say? Seeing this, the protagonist thought, perhaps my destiny is sealed. I can never live in peace with my own kin. He suddenly thought of Yuan He. She's acting very different from my memories of her in my past life. She is my only family. Back then, I found some comfort in the worried look in Yuan He's eyes, but hidden within was a perplexing hatred and contempt. I thought I had seen it wrong. Right, now I understand. You and he hasn't changed at all. It was just me who was too foolish before. To not realize it. From the very beginning, she was never on my side. Perhaps the one who killed Duan Hatuong was also her. I thought that after understanding my father's heart, I had gained one more person to rely on, but then I lost another. He jumped up and held out his hand. Can I borrow another saber? The rest of the journey was also a continuous chain of training. He walked and ran, swinging his saber during breaks and sleeping less to practice. Thinking of the approaching front line, he didn't allow himself to waste even a single moment. That place was truly a death trap. If he didn't want to die, he had to give it his all. Lao Jiang, walking alongside, said, I've never seen anyone train as hard as him, young master. At first, I thought you wouldn't last. Now I feel truly ashamed. He laughed. Ha, I'm just struggling because I don't want to die. I've always been like this. Suddenly, an arrow flew by with a whoosh. He jumped to the side to dodge it. The group immediately drew their weapons. Who's there? Which bastard doesn't know the rules of the martial world sneak attacking like this? The ambushers laughed heartily. Ha! About to die and still talking about martial world etiquette. A group of mountain bandits emerged, blocking the road. A man in a tiger skin carrying a large axe stepped forward and growled. Drop your weapons and surrender obediently, if you don't want your head split in two. He was the master of the Six Tigers Fortress Mo Jusan. Lao Zhang was startled and whispered, The Tiger Chieftain Mo Jusan. Why is he here? Young master, if a fight breaks out, get on your horse and run immediately. We can't hold them off for long. He thought quickly, Mo Jusan, I've heard of him. Unlike common riffraff bandits, he's someone who has formally studied martial arts. Lao Zhang stepped forward and cupped his hands. I have heard of the mighty reputation of the Six Tigers Fortress. It is an honor to meet you like this. If necessary, I am willing to pay the toll. There's no need for bloodshed when we can resolve this with words. The man looked pleased and said loudly, All right, the toll is everything you own. Your clothes, horses, swords, everything you have. Strip naked and get lost. I won't chase you. The bandits cheered and laughed. Hurry up and strip. If their asses look good, we'll have our fun, right, boys? Ha! Lao Zhang looked at the protagonist and urged, Young master, get on your horse. There's no time. He clenched his fists and shouted, Hey, you bastards! You dare ambush the third young master of the Chen family like me? Do you really want to be wiped out? The bandits sneered. Are you really the third young master? He growled. That's right, Tiger Chieftain Mo Jusan. If you dare touch me, you're digging your own grave. Mo Jusan narrowed his eyes. What nonsense are you spouting? He pulled out a round token. I am clearly a member of the Chen family. This is the family token to prove it. Mo Jusan held out his hand. Throw it over here, I'll check it. He cautiously approached. And get ambushed by you, no thanks. Mo Jusan roared, If you don't throw it now, I'll attack. He said, Fine, I'll throw it from here. But you have to give it back after you've seen it. The token was thrown whistling through the air. Mo Jusan reached out and caught it. He glanced at the token's face. A Guiyang seal? Just as he was distracted, the protagonist lunged forward, his blade slashing out. A single strike pierced his heart. Blood spurted from his mouth. The bandits were horrified. What? The boss. It was a sneak attack. Get him. One of them swung his saber down. The protagonist sidestepped just in time to dodge. He effortlessly swept his blade in a horizontal arc. The gleam of steel spun into a curve, cutting down the bandits. The bandits screamed and collapsed. Seeing this, Lao Zhang shouted, Charge, support the young master! The bandits panicked. Spare me, run, scatter. He inhaled and smiled. That's right, this is the feeling. My body, my soul, are rejoicing in the atmosphere of the battlefield that I have returned to. A moment later, the blood-stained hilt of the saber in his hand trembled slightly. He collapsed to the ground, panting from exhaustion. Damn, I'm dead tired. The bodies of the bandits lay strewn across the ground. The escort stood there, stunned, watching him lie in the middle of the battlefield. Lao Zhang narrowed my eyes and asked half-jokingly, Young master, are you by any chance an old master who has regained his youth? He chuckled, as if that could happen. Besides, if that were the case, why would I be so exhausted that I'd collapse like this? He nodded. That's true. But at this age, to strike without a hint of hesitation, it's not easy. Moreover, seeing you resting so calmly amidst a pile of corpses made me think strange things. Just now I even thought I saw your sword glowing. Was that sword chi? He shook his head. No, the 13 swords of the Chen family is fundamentally an illusionary sword style. You probably saw an afterimage and mistook it. They stared in awe. So that's the renowned 13 swords of the Chen family. As expected of a prestigious martial art. To think a second-rate technique could be so powerful. At 40 years old, with 25 years of internal energy cultivation, I still feel ashamed. He asked Lao Zhang, Warrior Zhang, what kind of internal art have you been practicing? Lao Zhang added, the Six Harmonies technique, the only one I could find. He thought to himself, The Six Harmonies technique. That's a third-rate technique sold everywhere in old bookstores. What's impressive isn't the technique, but that he managed to build 25 years of internal energy with it. Perhaps because he couldn't access orthodox martial arts, his years of effort have yet to bear fruit. Looking at him, he saw a faint shadow of his past self, scrounging begging for every single move. Afterward, he turned and said to the escorts, "Let's go, we continue our journey." Days of running followed days of running. Finally, they set foot in Yunnan. "I can't believe it took 9 days," someone marveled. 9 days to finally get a proper inn. He smiled. "Today is the last day. Let's go to the tavern for a drink, my treat." Lao Zhang laughed. "Oh, that's our young master. The scion of a noble family is truly generous." The group gathered around a round table. He turned and asked, "Warrior Gong, after this trip, are you going straight home?" "Yes," he replied. I have a wife and kids now. I probably can't continue living by the sword," Lao Zhang teased. "See, I told you wanderers shouldn't get married and have kids." Another person dismissed it. "If you're jealous, at least hide your face when you say it." The tavern door opened. "Well, look what we have here, a beautiful lady." He looked up. Huh. The silhouette of a young woman in a blue dress entered, a familiar face. He quietly mumbled, "Isn't that the person from before?" The protagonist called out, "Ah, young lady." He smiled, stood up, and waved. "What a coincidence to see you here. If you don't mind, please come over and join us." Without paying any attention to the protagonist, she walked past, took a chair, and sat down at the table, leaving him in an awkward state. "Ah, you're already seated, ha." Everyone gathered around, welcoming the young lady. "We were about to have some wine. Would you like to order first?" Lao Zhang continued. "Ha, what a coincidence meeting again here." She spoke softly, "I'll order later. And I'm also planning to volunteer for the front lines." He was stunned. "Huh?" The whole table stared. "Young lady, you want to go to the front lines?" "But why?" She raised her cup in silence. But in his mind, a thought flashed. Even renowned heroes are reluctant to go, which is why they have to enforce conscription. And yet a young woman wants to go on her own. He asked hesitantly, "Young lady, why do you want to volunteer to go there?" She didn't answer right away. She just looked at him and said softly, "You look much thinner, young master." He laughed. "Ah! Ha, that's because I've been training while traveling lately." "So you noticed too, huh?" She nodded. "Yes, you look much slimmer." He waved his hand dismissively. "Ha, you're too kind. I'm not that thin." The others chimed in. The young master worked very hard along the way. He even took care of some mountain bandits. Gave them a good thrashing when we met them on the road. Lao Zhang added, "Not only that, now that he's slimmed down, the young master looks much more handsome." He burst out laughing. "Ha! I've heard. People also said I'd look better if I lost some weight." She stood up and said softly, "Please excuse me, I must be going." Then she walked out of the tavern. The escort sitting opposite him replied, "Come now, young master, please have the first drink." The protagonist added, "Ha, all right. It would be rude not to." Outside, she let out a sigh of relief. "Phew, he was so cute before. A face exactly like my Bowsy." The technique he displayed? It was as if it were luck and coincidence. And the past I investigated, all of it made me extremely curious. That cute waddling appearance. His stamina was so absurd he'd fall after half a step. It's truly unacceptable. How could I let such an adorable person be killed by the demons of the blood demon cult? I must protect him. This is the duty of a pioneer who discovers the cuteness hidden from the world. That's why I followed him all the way here. But now the reason for going to the front line is gone. My family is also worried. I'll go back tomorrow." She sighed in the night courtyard. Just then a scream tore through the air. "Help!" She immediately drew her sword and dashed towards the sound. "No one." A large dark shadow leaped out from the bushes. She spun around the gleam of her steel blade, tracing a brilliant red circle. She realized the other party had no intention of defending. "Then I'll end this in one move." She spun and unleashed a lightning-fast sword strike. Cough! Huh! He was still standing. Red mist began to rise from him. He lunged to attack her. She was thrown back, wondering, "Cuff! What in the world is that thing, a monster?" He charged at her while she was getting into a defensive stance. Her slash grazed him, but he didn't even flinch. The escorts heard the noise and ran over. "What the hell is that?" He charged in, slashing. The moment the blade touched the opponent's skin, it shattered. "My sword broke." At that very moment, his stomach was pierced by the monster. Taking that opportunity, she ran behind it. She slashed, but he caught her sword. He turned his head and gave her a disgusting smile, making her break out in a cold sweat. Just then, something flew past. The protagonist ran over and asked, "Young lady, are you all right?" She looked at him and said, "I'm fine, but that man..." Seeing this, he turned his head and said, "Everyone get inside the inn now." Lao Zhang replied, "What are you saying, young master?" "That thing killed Lao Yang," the protagonist added. "It's going to follow us anyway. We can't deal with it out here." Just then the monster dashed forward. The young woman stood in front of the protagonist and pushed him back. A clash of metal rang out. The monster relentlessly attacked without stopping. The protagonist was still shouting, "Everyone get inside quickly." Just then the young woman was knocked backward by its attack. The naked monster roared loudly. The protagonist quickly covered her mouth. While it roared, the protagonist gestured to the young woman to not say anything. She thought to herself, observing carefully, "Come to think of it, its eyes have been closed this whole time. Don't tell me it's blind and only hunts by sound." Just then the group of escorts from afar shouted, "Young master, are you ready?" The monster laughed. It whipped its head towards the sound and charged like a wild beast. The protagonist thought to himself, "Damn it, everyone's inside the inn." A moment later, it was holding someone by the head inside the inn. The inn had turned into a slaughterhouse. People's frantic screams filled the air. "Damn it! It's got the child, that monster!" The two of them rushed into the chaotic scene. They saw the monster attacking Lao Zhang. He screamed in terror. Where did this monster come from? This is impossible. The protagonist lunged forward, punching it squarely in the back. A resounding thud echoed. It was sent flying, its body tumbling and crashing through tables and chairs. The protagonist stepped forward and shouted loudly, "Everyone be quiet." Lao Zhang hurriedly cried out, "Young master, fall back for now." The people in the inn screamed, "Ah, help me! There's a—" "Innkeeper, call the authorities now." The protagonist gritted his teeth, his heart pounding. "This is big trouble. I have to make them quiet down somehow." The monster stood up. Seeing this, the protagonist ran to a table and flipped it over. Everything on the table came crashing down. The clattering sound echoed throughout the room. Then he shouted, "Everyone be quiet!" The sound of falling objects caused the monster to turn its head frantically. Everyone stared intently, as if expecting something. Next, the protagonist picked up a nearby chair and threw it in another direction to distract the monster. The protagonist frowned. "No good, it's still not loud enough. Is there anything that can make a louder noise?" The young woman suddenly gathered her energy. Blue mist began to rise from her. She leaped, shouted, and launched herself forward, slashing down. The blood-red monster blocked the incoming attack. Then it sent her flying backward. She landed in a tumble and then charged forward again, attacking like a storm. She took a deep breath and shouted, "Now!" The protagonist turned his head to remind them, "It's very sensitive to sound. You must not make any noise." Then he thought to himself, "But just being quiet isn't enough. First I have to make a sound to attract its attention, and then get close. If sound echoes from all directions at once, it won't move easily." He gathered a pile of fragile, noisy objects. He stood behind the monster. He gave a shh signal to the young woman. The room fell silent. The protagonist tossed the pile of objects in 4 directions. They bounced continuously, clattering throughout the hall. The monster froze, instinctively turning its head to find the source of the noise. He narrowed his eyes. "At this moment, I can't afford a single misstep. If its claws touch this weak body, I'll be torn to shreds." The protagonist closed in on its flank, sweat beading on his temples. He formed a finger sword, aiming straight for its head. Behind him, the crowd held their breath, then subconsciously gasped, "Hiss! Hiss! Hiss!" one after another. The monster heard it and turned its head. Its dark shadow loomed over his face. The protagonist held his breath as the monster closed in. Sweat dripped down his temples. He gritted his teeth, thinking, "Damn it, there's no way back now." The giant roared, its hand swinging down like a hammer. The protagonist clamped his hands on both sides of its face, prying its mouth wide open, causing it to scream. Its hot breath washed over him. The young woman froze, surprised and panting heavily. "What the hell?" The protagonist gripped tighter, forcing the beast down to the floor. His 2 hands forcibly held it in place. Looking at this scene, I can't even tell who the monster is anymore. The creature's giant mouth was wide open. The protagonist then shouted, "Its mouth, attack the inside of its mouth." Seeing this, the young woman thought, "Right. Even if my sword chi can't pierce its flesh, the inside of its throat, it could be its weak point." She tightened her grip on her sword hilt. A blue light erupted around her. Her breathing was ragged, but her gaze was steady. If it's just one strike, it has to be absolutely precise. Her killing intent surged. The sword was drawn in a streak of blue light like a crescent moon. She shot forward, focusing her power into the tip of the sword. Her entire body spun downward. The tip of the sword plunged deep into the monster's throat. The monster thrashed violently, dark red blood gushing out. Seeing this, the young woman's face froze slightly. She hesitated to push further. At that moment, the protagonist's hand touched hers. Using the power of friendship, they both pushed down with all their might. Its hand clenched, clawing at the ground. A long, drawn-out groan faded into silence. It stopped moving. The protagonist and she panted cold sweat, drenching their backs. The night ended. The next morning, the courtyard in front of the main gate was covered in a dewy mist. 2 bodies covered with white cloths lay on the steps. The people in the manor bowed their heads in silence. A few men stood in a line watching. Lao Jiang suddenly asked when he saw the protagonist, "You're leaving now?" The protagonist smiled and replied, "It's a long way, so I plan to set off right away." Lao Jiang added, "Travel safely, young master. May good fortune be with you on the battlefield." The protagonist shook his hand in thanks. "I wish you all good health, and to Warrior Gong, I hope you build a happy family soon." He opened his bundle and took out a few books. "I had 5 copies made. I didn't think I'd only end up giving them to 3 people." They took them asking blankly, "What is this?" The protagonist replied calmly, "It's nothing grand, but it will be better than the old heart technique you're using." They were startled. "Then could it be?" He nodded. "Yes, its name is the Foundation of Internal Energy Heart Technique." The man stammered, "Young master, I can't accept this." The protagonist added, "At the end of the book, I also included a few sword moves. I know it's nothing special, but it should be useful." But in his heart, a thought flashed. The Bao Wen Zheng Heart Technique, the one Captain Shui Feng found and gave to me in my past life. Thanks to it, I, who had almost no internal energy, rose to a high realm in less than 15 years. In other words, it's the technique that made me a first-class martial artist. Lao Zhang asked emotionally, "Young master, why did you do this? How can we ever repay you?" The protagonist smiled. "We have crossed the line between life and death together. If we're not friends, what are we? I no longer use this, so giving it to a friend is no great favor." He folded his sleeves. "We must be going. If we linger any longer, it'll take all day just to cross a few hills. I hope to meet you again when we are all first-class masters." The man gripped the book tightly and replied, "I will become a first-class master and find you. When that time comes, let's have a celebratory drink together." The protagonist and the young woman turned their backs and left the gate. She looked over at the protagonist curiously and said, "I've never seen a martial artist share their techniques with outsiders. You truly are an unusual person." The protagonist smiled. "It's not a secret art of the Chen family, so I figured there's no harm in sharing it." The two of them walked along a path in the forest. Dry leaves crunched under their feet. He tilted his head and asked, "Young lady, are you really planning to go to the front lines?" "That place is crawling with monsters like the one from yesterday. Immune to sword ki. You could die there." She looked into the distance, her voice somber. "I thought a lot about it last night, but I still feel that going is the right thing to do. If, as you say, countless creatures are pouring out from the front lines, then someone must be risking their lives to stop them right now. If I turn my back, it's no different from turning a blind eye to them. That's not the life I chose when I started practicing martial arts. And my father didn't raise me to live like that." She stopped and looked straight at him. "You are Chen? When you look at me, do you see a young lady or a warrior?" The question rang out without a hint of hesitation. The protagonist froze, his hands clenching. He silently blamed himself. "Turns out I've been treating a warrior like a sheltered young lady." He turned and cupped his hands. "It seems I misunderstood your determination. I apologize." She smiled, her eyes lighting up. "I accept your apology. It's refreshing that you can admit your mistake and say it right away." The protagonist nodded in return, his heart feeling lighter. Scene change, Yunnan frontline. Great blood demon cult. A gloomy forest. A young martial artist is stabbed from behind, blood spraying out in the stream. A scream echoes, tearing through the forest. "No! No!" The young martial artist collapses, blood staining the ground red. The man holding the blade pulls a girl towards him, gripping her arms tightly behind her back. He cackles. "Dare to turn your back when your elder is right behind you." On the tree trunks around the slope, cultists jump down, surrounding them. The fiends of the blood demon cult crawl out like a pack of beasts. The leader narrows his eyes at the girl, his voice slick. "Was that boy your lover? Don't you worry. I'll make you forget all about that punk soon enough." He was called Chi Mo, the leader of the Twin Scythes 7 Stars. The second in command, Kyujiuji, moved closer, licking his lips. "Look at this prey, I'm already drooling." From a distance, a plume of red smoke shot up. The signal flare had been fired. They chattered amongst themselves. "Those annoying pests will be here soon. Quick, grab one more and let's bounce. Grab one more before we retreat." The entire group launched themselves from the canopy. A troop of cloth-armored militia turned and shouted, "Everyone get into defensive positions." The clash of steel rang out. A group of women formed a defensive circle. They shouted, "Everyone hold on! The captain is coming." But the cultists laughed menacingly, continuously pressing their attack. 2 hooks drew vicious circles of light in the cramped forest space. The sound of scraping steel echoed. He chuckled and said, "You think that's enough?" The battle erupted in the forest. The women tried to defend, waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Just then the newcomer stood tall in the middle of the clearing. Her high ponytail swayed gently, her eyes red like smoldering coals. A chilling aura radiated from her. The cultists fell silent in an instant. The 13th Flying Dragon Squad. the fourth squad captain of the Diankang Eagle Sword, Ma Yukian. The sky brightened above the canopy. The bandits looked up as a figure landed, as lightly as a falling leaf. A black cloak fluttered a sword resting at her hip. The leader took a sharp breath, his eyes narrowing. Ma Yukian? Her eyes were cold red, her hair tied in a high ponytail. Her presence oppressed the entire forest. Seeing her, the people hurriedly said, "The captain is here." The bandits scattered in confusion. Damn it, their sword dragon really came. "Boss, what do we do now?" The leader sneered and shouted fiercely, "She's alone, I'll take her. The rest are yours." He swung his weapon and charged forward, the wind whistling in a circle. The iron staff swung in a powerful arc, slashing violently, tearing through the air. Ma Yukiam didn't say a word. He gently turned on his heel, his body gliding across like a shadow. Metal clashed. A dazzling, heavy sound echoed through the fallen leaves. The leader's move was locked in place. His eyes widened in astonishment. Ma Yukiam shifted his axis, his figure sliding like sand and water. The blade drew a white arc. The leader was thrown back, slamming hard onto the ground and sliding a long way. His breath hitched. The sword's slash still vibrated in the air. Silent and ruthless, it made the bandits behind him freeze, not daring to move. The leader stumbled. Then a subordinate frantically yelled, "Boss, there's someone else coming." Another one, startled, yelled, "What?" High up, a green figure landed lightly on a tree trunk, her dress fluttering like leaves. A pair of crescent moon rings glittered on her wrists. The bandits gasped, "It's Dang Yuban of the Dang family." But Dang Yuban's eyes were ice cold. At the same time, Ma Yukiam still pressed the leader, the tip of his sword aimed straight. The sound of metal clashing rang out. Sparks of blue and purple flew. The leader gritted his teeth and parried several blows, getting knocked back. He roared, "That prey is mine. You guys take care of the rest." His men shouted in unison, "Yes, boss!" They changed direction like a pack of wolves, charging towards Dang Yuban. A few of them howled obscenely, "Come here. Heh, you're mine now." She turned and glided away, her hair and the hem of her dress swirling in the wind, intentionally luring them all away. The bandits thundered after her. "She's running!" "Stop right there." Figures overlapped in the forest. Dang Yubun led the bandits on a chase, cutting through the wind in the dense forest. Her steps were light and fast. A green shadow flitted past the tree trunks. The bandits followed like a pack of hunting dogs, panting heavily. She glanced back, a corner of her lip curling up. It seemed the bandit sensed something was wrong, so he turned his head and looked. Just then, on the side, a man in white shot out and struck the bandit. Then he supported her in his arms. His voice was deep and steady. "I'll release your acupuncture points, just hold on a little longer." She panted, calling out softly, "Deputy Captain." The sound of hurried footsteps approached again. A bandit yelled, "Little brother." Another one, startled, shouted, "It's the sword dragon of the armor workshop." Then he himself bitterly exclaimed, "We've been trapped." Dang Yuban lifted her chin, her eyes filled with contempt. "You pathetic scum of the demonic path, you're only just realizing it." She kicked off a tree trunk and swooped down like a swallow. Her slash opened up into a chilling wave that swept across. It sent one of them staggering back injured. One of them cursed and charged forward. "Boss!" A dark shadow fell from the treetops. The tip of the sword struck like lightning. The 13th Captain Peng Yangsan. Peng Yangsan cut through the wind, swooping down from the treetops. The blade swept across in a brilliant red streak, tearing up the ground. Several bandits were thrown into the air. The one in front, blood gushing from his chest, fell to the ground, gasping for breath. He choked out the name Peng Yang. At the same time, on the opposite tree trunk, a man in white had been standing there all along. He held his sword vertically along his body, then rushed forward and slashed. The slash was as hot as fire, sweeping across the formation. Blood splattered on the grass. He muttered, "I was having a nice dream, but you woke me up." It was Han Gyo-seong, the captain of the squad. A bandit blurted out, "The green windsword dragon is here too." The bandits turned pale. "Boss, run." "Hey, you'll get what's coming to you." The man added, "You don't think you can run, do you?" "You're going to die here." The leader braced himself and shot off down the path. He looked back and roared, "Next time I'll deal with you. You punk!" As he spoke, his shoulder was slashed by a blade. Blood soaked his shirt. From behind, a white shadow chased relentlessly through the forest. The sound of swords clashing and frantic footsteps echoed through the trees. A choked sob echoed from the edge of the forest. The woman collapsed, clutching the cold body of her comrade. "Jinglong, please wake up." Ma Yukiam witnessed this and frowned from the path. Seol Pung in his red clothes approached and asked urgently, "I'm late, what's the situation?" Ma Yukiam grabbed his collar, his voice full of anger. "Seol Pung, why are you so late? If you had been here sooner, we could have at least taken down one more of the 7 evils, maybe even wiped them all out." Seol Pung lowered his eyes and replied softly, "I was also ambushed. I'm sorry I'm late." Ma Yukiam's face darkened as he yelled, "Sorry! Is that it, you idiot? A wanderer like you doesn't deserve to be a captain. Another person stepped in at that moment to intervene. That's enough, Captain 4. While we were holding off the 5 little Chugui, a big Chugui attacked. Captain Seolpung killed it and the others, then rushed over here. Those words silenced everyone. The Chugui absorbs human essence to gradually increase its internal energy. It's considered one of the most dangerous demonic creatures. She added, you have to kill them on sight. I'm sure the 4th captain understands this well. Ma Yukiam, hearing this, didn't say anything more and left. Humph, is that so? The deputy captain still wanted to argue. Is that all the reason? Apologized to Captain Seolpung immediately. But Seolpung pulled his hand back. It's all right. He just lost a comrade. She frowned and replied, but we also, Chi-pung added. It's okay, let it go. Everything fell silent. Dang Yubin looked over, her voice cold. You're too soft. That's why Mayukiam looks down on your squad. If you keep being lenient, you're making things difficult for your own people. Seolpung forced a smile. Is that so? Another person stepped forward, touched his shoulder, and said, on his behalf, I apologize. Seolpung. Seolpung nodded slightly. It's okay, it's already happened. Everyone helped the wounded leave the area. The atmosphere was heavy as bone. Someone suddenly remembered, Captain, aren't there new recruits joining the team today? The old man replied, it'll be a long time before they're tough enough for battle. The other person whispered, even so it's better than nothing. I just hope they live long enough to become men of this battlefield. 3. The scene changes to the dark red tiled roof of the 2nd headquarters. The front line against the blood demon cult in Yunnan. Clouds stretched across the sky like a silk ribbon. Inside a wide-open hall, a person led everyone in and said quietly, this is the waiting room. The deputy commander will be here shortly. Please wait here. The main character walked in gracefully, his eyes glancing at the silhouette of a young lady registering. He thought to himself, looks like besides the young lady, the young man, the only other newcomer is that girl. Just like before, nothing has changed. But at the same time, the young man next to him softly called out, young master, I heard that the 13th squad has the youngest members. Probably because all the veterans are dead. The main character smiled and replied, looks like it. In his past life's memories, the 13th squad was indeed the youngest. All young faces. Except for the commander and deputy commander. There were no middle-aged or older people. The young man covered his mouth and pondered. This is serious, you mean? That squad is full of young people forced into service, so the veterans didn't volunteer. The main character added, because there's no glory here, and no profit. Everything that happens on the front lines never gets out. No matter how many battles they win or how tragically they die, no one will know. Even chivalrous heroes who don't care about profit. Avoid this place, because here there is only danger, no glory. A soft cough echoed through the waiting room. An old man with a silver mustache walked in. He spoke in a deep voice. Welcome, everyone. I am the deputy captain of the 13th squad of the Flying Dragon Army, the Flying Sword, Yeon Yongbak. I'm sure you've all heard of me. The main character narrowed his eyes and thought to himself, I can't believe there's a day I'm happy to see this old man again. I should probably play along, he said. It's a pleasure. As soon as he finished, the young man spoke bluntly. No, I've never heard of you. Are you very famous? Yeon Yongbak paused, then quickly stroked his mustache and forced a smile. The front lines have many masters hidden by the oath of secrecy. The young lady must be poorly informed. She tilted her head and replied, Is that so? I thought I remembered all the top masters. Or are you at the peak of your realm? The old man stiffened, trembling with anger. The main character standing beside him chuckled to himself. He hit a nerve right from the start. Looks like he's boiling with rage. The old man quickly waved his hand. There isn't much time. I'll assign the squads now. The captains should have gathered there by now. The old man opened the roster, his voice drawing out the name Cheonmujin, the third son of this prestigious Seonwoo family, Cheonwoo of Guizhou. He then turned the page to Cheonju-yun, the daughter of Cheon Gasong, the leader of the 4 great masters of Guizhou. Aren't the 4 greats of Guizhou part of the demonic path? The atmosphere in the hall suddenly froze for a moment, but Yeon Yongbak just closed the book, his eyes flashing. He seemed to know that today's selection would not be peaceful. The main character looked at her and thought to himself, the daughter of a demonic path member is intentionally joining the front lines under the Murim alliance. This is truly strange. Then the old man looked at the paper and added, the young man's parents cannot be disclosed. The main character thought to himself, when she introduced herself, she just said young man. And she's also affectionately called Anyan by the young lady of the Jiggle family. Then it's definitely not simple. The girl looked up calmly. Yes, I am a young man. The old man growled. Doesn't the young lady know that? It's not allowed to volunteer for the front lines with a vague background. The main character thought to himself, what kind of nonsense is this? Even the identity of Captain Seol Pung of the 7th Squad is still unknown to anyone. The young man immediately replied, "The headquarters didn't say that." The old man continued, "In my 13th Squad it is absolutely not allowed. Either declare your sect and parents immediately, or go and join the Pylong barracks." At the same time, he stepped up to speak. "Young lady, the young man is a friend of the young lady of the Jaegel family at Geomho. I'm sure you're no stranger to the Jaegel family, are you?" The old man paused. The main character lowered his voice and added, "She is the precious daughter of the Jaegel family. At the same time, she is the child of Elder Jaegel Jikang, the strategist of the Murim Alliance." The old man standing beside him stammered, "Don't make things up. How could a young lady like that come to the front lines?" The main character shrugged. The old man didn't know, but there must be a reason. Perhaps it's related to the leadership, the bigwigs in the Murim Alliance. So what, hearing this, the old man broke out in a cold sweat and looked back at the roster. The scene changes to a moment later at the 7th Squad's barracks, just as in the main character's memories. This place had witnessed 7 years of ups and downs, both happy and painful. As long as I don't get assigned to Madu, Yam's 4th Squad, I'm lucky. All 3 of us have been assigned to the 7th Squad. Is this a dream? Seol Pung led the way and said quietly, "This is the 7th Squad's barracks. I'm sure some of the squad members will want to cause trouble with the newcomers. I hope you don't mind." Hearing this, the main character thought back to the past. When he was bullied, the 3rd young master of the Cheonwoo family. That disgrace to the family, and the captain brought this piece of trash to our squad. He must be crazy. "Get lost, you filthy pig. I can tell just by looking at your face that you're bad luck." But those words made him suddenly realize, is this what you call causing trouble? Even though I finally gritted my teeth, endured it, and changed myself. But I was once so miserable from being ostracized that I wanted to die. Thinking about livings in this hallway again, old memories came flooding back like the late afternoon sun through the window, both warm and painful. This time will be different. The door to the 7th Squad's bedroom opened and footsteps echoed on the wooden floor. In the room, several squad members were chatting. Seeing someone enter, they turned around. "Oh, Captain, are there new recruits?" A big guy laughed heartily. He looked at the main character's body and said jokingly, "With a build like that, you must eat as much as I do. A pleasure to meet you." The person next to him sneered, "What? A pig escaped from its pen." The guys leaning against the pillar whispered, "The captain is still the captain. He'll take anyone, a proper recruit. Dream on." The main character ignored them and just thought to himself, compared to before, "I'm less unsightly now. It was worth losing the weight." Seol Pung calmly said, "This is young Master Cheon Mujin, the 3rd son of the prestigious Seonwoo family Cheonwoo. In Guizhou, the front lines are still unfamiliar. I hope you will support him." Their faces turned pale, then contorted. "The Seonwoo clan? So it's the shame of that family." Another person sneered. "He told me you're no different from a pig in human skin, right? The cripple who was even beaten and lost to his own younger brother. But you seem to have lost weight." Then he glanced at him and added, "It must have been hard to get here. A pig can lose that much weight. But if you're going to be bait for demons, you should get fat again." The captain's eyes lowered, as cold as a blade at this moment. With just a soft sound, the 2 aggressive guys who were about to approach suddenly flinched and took half a step back. Their necks stiffened. The atmosphere in the room was as tense as a drawn bow. The main character stepped forward, smiled, and extended his hand. "A pleasure." "Ha, Mokjin," the young man said, startled. "Huh, you know me?" The main character nodded, his eyes still gentle. "I know you very well. But first, let's have a fight." The question hung in the air as he closed in like the wind. He swept his foot lightly and kneed his opponent straight in the hip. The wooden floor bounced with a heavy thud. The guy's body swayed. He twisted his wrist and broke his wrist lock. He used the momentum to pull him backward, then slammed him down hard. A loud crash echoed in the room. Mokjin groaned hoarsely. His hand, which he had just lifted, was pinned. His body was twisted and his back slammed onto the floor. He didn't change his expression, his movements as fluid as water. The final wide blow made his opponent's eyes widen. His breath hitched, his mouth agape, unable to speak in time. The whole room was dead silent. One of them blurted out in a trembling voice, "What are you doing?" He stood up straight and dusted off his sleeves. His expression was calm, as if he hadn't moved at all. "What am I doing? Didn't you all just call me a good-for-nothing?" He cursed, his voice trembling. "You bastard." He glanced at the others. He thought for a moment. This should be enough to make an example of them. Or should I just clean up the rest of them? At the same time, footsteps echoed from behind him. A deep voice rang out right behind him. "What is going on here?" He paused, a corner of his lip curling up in a smirk. Finally, the boss has shown himself. The newcomer walked in, his face as cold as stone. He repeated, "I asked, what is going on here?" The room fell silent. The wind outside suppressed blew through the window bars, but he just stood there smiling, as if he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. "You, what's so funny? I asked you what you were doing." He smiled and bowed. "It's a pleasure to meet you, Captain. I am Cheonmujin. I was just assigned to the 7th Squad today. As soon as I arrived, those 3 warmly called me a pig and a piece of trash, so I had to return some of their affection. What do you think, Captain?" The guy raised an eyebrow and introduced himself. "I am Ju Taegyong of the Jomchang sect." He nodded slightly, thinking just as I expected. He wouldn't lower himself to join those noisy kids. Ju Taegyong, who was conceited because of his Jeomchang background, his pride reached the heavens. 9th-ranked sect, that was enough for him to be arrogant. But because he couldn't stand being a nobody under Seolpung, he teamed up with those 3 idiots and dragged the 7th Squad into trouble time and time again. He became the malignant tumor in the squad. Because of him, my first love, someone who shouldn't have died, passed away. This time I won't let that happen again. He clenched his fist. His eyes were still smiling, but deep down they were icy. Even so, he told himself to be careful. Ju Taegyong's strength is at the mid-elite level, and I've only reached the 2nd tier. If I confront him head-on, it'll be hard to take him down immediately. To uproot him completely, I need a different move. No need to rush. If I can't take him down right away, I can still use Seolpung. Ju Taegyong turned to leave. Then Seolpung called out casually, "By the way, today 2 new female recruits also joined the squad. Everyone feel free to get to know each other." He paused, his face angry, thinking to himself, "Who the hell is that bastard?" The main character looked and smirked. "Ah, now I remember. You're Ju Taegyong, aren't you, senior brother? I heard your title is Jomchang Jeomho. Is that right?" He whirled around. "But you," he growled, "what did you just say?" He was still smiling. "Jomchang, isn't that your title?" "That's just what people told me." His eyes blazed. His hand rested on the hilt of his sword. "You're about to lose your life because you didn't do your research." The blade was about to be drawn when Seolpung stepped forward. The main character took the opportunity to slip behind him and say, "Oh no, Ju Taegyong, what are you doing?" He added in a low voice, "Move aside, Seolpung. He dared to insult me, a prestigious disciple of the Jomchang sect. I can't let him live." Deokpung smiled at him and said, "Cheonmujin just arrived and doesn't know the rules. Let it slide this time. Besides, drawing your sword now is crossing the line." Ju Taegyong gritted his teeth. "The rules clearly state, if a second-rate fighter disrespects a first-rate martial artist, they must pay the price." "Are you really going to stop me, Seolpung?" The main character smiled broadly and raised his hand. "My apologies, senior brother." His words were light, but the corners of his eyes were still cold, as if hiding a thin blade waiting for an opportunity to strike. Another time. "Those guys dared to be disrespectful to the captain, a top-level master, so I taught them a lesson. I thought senior brother Ju Taegyong wouldn't care about such trivial matters." He flinched, his face pale. The guys watching burst out laughing. "Ha ha ha! A worm has crawled into the den." "Looks like this team is about to get another worm," the main character said nonchalantly. "Jump! Taegyong will never catch up to the captain in his lifetime. But the distance between you and me is different. In 1 or 2 months, I'll surpass you." The air seemed to crackle. He growled, "What did you say? Do you dare to make a bet to prove those words?" He smiled. "What if I can?" He stepped forward. "I'll give you 3 months. Prove it in a duel. If you lose, you die. You accepted with your own mouth, so don't complain." The main character tilted his head. "All right, but what if I win?" He said, certain of victory. Then I'll die. What else?" The main character shook his head and added, "No, that's not good. A precious comrade can't be wasted. While still fighting the demonic cult, I have an idea. From the moment I win, you will consider me your senior brother. That's fair." His teeth clenched and he spat out a single word, "Fine." He glanced at Seolpung. "Are you just going to let him dig his own grave?" Seolpung just stood there silently, his eyes cold. Ju Taegyong leaned in close, his voice venomous. "Struggle all you want. I'll make you regret opening your mouth." He stood up straight, a corner of his lip curling up as a timeline was set in his mind. Ju Taegyong flicked his sleeves and walked away. The other 3 scurried after him. But he laughed and sighed in relief, feeling as light as if he had just shaken off some dust. A guy laughed cheerfully and said, "That was awesome, what a rush. You're Cheonmujin, right? I'm starting to like you. From now on, let's be brothers." A warmth flashed in his eyes as the main character thought to himself, he's a disciple of the Pijong sect, a sect that was wiped out by the blood demon cult. No wonder he's so excited, because he just got a revenge on someone who was deeply involved with that sect. The sect. Then the burly guy approached the main character and added, "Ha, I liked you from the first time I saw you. I don't know why, but I just knew we'd get along." He witnessed this scene and thought to himself, in the distance, An and Bui Zhongguan, my friends from my past life, are now alive and well standing beside me. This time I won't let them die here. Deokpung stepped forward and looked him over. Are you sure you're all right? Ju Taegyong is not to be trifled with. The main character smiled and said so. The captain will push me to my limits. As long as you don't kill me, I'm ready. And please speak freely with me. I'm a member of the squad now, and I'm not older than you. Right! Seolpung raised an eyebrow and then smiled. As you wish. Cheonmujin, since you've spoken so boldly, I'll make you keep your word. I'll torture you until you wish you were dead. In the distance, he waved his hand. Don't joke. You haven't tasted the captain's training yet. That's for top-level masters. We, like us, can't handle it. The main character just smiled, his hand clenched inside his sleeve. The harsher the better. Because in 3 months, I don't just need to beat Ju Taegyong. I also need to be strong enough and to keep my friends alive on this battlefield. I've had enough of it in my past life. This time you will all suffer with me and enjoy with me. Then he added, at a glance you seem like a real man. But are you as confident as you look? The guy paused, then said, no way. I'm not afraid of anything in this world. The main character sneered softly. Good. Let's go through that kind of training together. Then Puisa-an added, all right, I'll show you. I'll join that damn training course with you. Bui Zhongguan chuckled and replied, I'd love to join, but I have a bigger dream, to use my steel-forged body to crush those demonic cultists, so I can't waste time on other things. Hearing this, the main character exclaimed, awesome! He said excitedly, I want a body as hard as iron, to fly like a shooting star, and then charge into them and smash them to pieces. If I could fly like a cannonball and crush them into smithereens, wouldn't that be awesome? Could you teach me some of those external techniques? He suddenly asked, huh? Are you serious? Then Seolpung added, now that I think about it, that guy in the captain's squad back then said the exact same thing. He also liked to test whose flesh was tougher than the demonic cults. The guy laughed loudly, confirming, then put his arm around him. His eyes were as bright as a child's. All right, I'll teach you. The main character then thought to himself, he agreed, even though it's just an excuse to hide my true goal. Then he said cheerfully, my goal is to use this steel-hard body to fly like a meteor and crash into the demonic cultists. It would be so cool if I could fly like a cannonball and smash them to pieces. Right, the guy held him and repeated, fly like an arrow and make the demonic cultists shatter. He chuckled. Maybe the martial world will praise me like this someday. Falling Iron God or Flying Diamond Light. The guy's eyes widened and he muttered, Falling Iron God. Flying Diamond Light. The main character closed his eyes as if sealing the deal. The scene changes to the next day. The group is in the forest. Puisa-an stood straight and said, this training is like eating cold porridge for a disciple of the Pui sect. Like me. But the main character walking beside Bui Zhongguan was nonchalant. I went through this kind of thing in my past life. It's nothing. Then he shouted, I'll go first. He shot forward, the wind whipping past his ears. His body was lighter than before, causing him to misjudge his landing. He stumbled and somersaulted upon landing. Ouch, Bui Zhongguan yelled. Are you okay? He lay on his back, looking up at the canopy and sighing softly. It seems after I lost weight, this is the first time I've trained like this. He then jumped up, brushed off the leaves, a corner of his lip curling up. I'm fine. Let's do it again. A month later, the forest was wet with dew, the early morning sun filtering through the leaves. A hand shot up from behind a tree trunk, clutching it tightly. Puisa-an gasped for breath, dragging himself over a log. Sweat beaded on his forehead. Bộ trốn khỏi môn phái đang suy tàn và ra tân tiến tuyển, hai đệ tử của một phái bí mật lại bị xếp chung tò với một đệ tử điểm thương. Khi nói ra lai lịch, Yvonne Trang hy vọng gì nhiều. Với kẻ bị kẹt ở hàng hai lưu như ta, thì việc nhận lỗi xin lỗi từ một kiếm sĩ Nhật lưu là điều gần như không thể. Ta chỉ nghĩ, ít nhất họ cũng còn chút áy náy về bi kịch năm ấy. Tên kia chỉ nhếch mép rồi sao? Người tự hào lắm vì trưởng lão phái. Người chết vì tham vọng vượt quá sức. Có gì đáng để vinh váo khoe khoang đâu. Lý trí của Y Đức phượt Y lao vào hẳn. Và kết quả thì rõ như ban ngày. Những ngày sau đó cũng chẳng khá hơn. Ở trình độ 2 lưu Y không thể đánh bại. Không ngay cả một tên ma giáo cũng không. Chứ đừng nói đến Chu Thái Khánh. Tâm pháp nội gia bí mật của môn phái đã bảy chuyện mà không có tâm pháp bài bản. Thì đừng mơ chạm tới hàng Nhật lưu. Mọi thứ đều bất công còn Y thì bất lực. Nhưng thà chết còn hơn bị thương hại như một kẻ yếu. Thế là Y sống vật vượng không mục tiêu. Một ngày nọ có gã điên nào đó được điều vào đội 7 cũng chỉ hàng 2 lưu. Thân thể còn chăng ra dáng người luyện võ. Vậy mà vừa ngày đầu đã húc đầu với Chu Thái Khánh. Kiểu ngông cuồng ấy lại khiến Y thấy dễ chịu lạ thường. Có lẽ vì thế mà Y giả vờ mặc mưu khiêu khích của hắn, rồi bị lôi vào buổi huấn luyện. Nhưng ngay hôm sau, Y môi nhận ra mình đã làm điều cực dại. Nếu không vì phút bốc động đó, giờ đã chẳng khổ sở thế này. Hắn thờ hồn hề phóng qua những thân cây, tuyết phỏng, vượt qua tán lá như mũi tên dù buộc khăn che mắt. Hắn từng nghĩ khinh công của mình chẳng thua AI, nhưng bám đuổi được. Đội trưởng suốt 1 tháng đã là hết sức rồi. Chết thì chết, ta cũng không được phép bỏ cuộc hơn nữa. Từ phía sau vang lại tiếng cười. Ha sao anh mới nửa canh giờ đã năn nữa à? Cố lên đi, có khi sớm bắt kịp ta đó. Cậu nhảy loáng loáng qua các thân cây. Tiếng cười váng cả rụng. Thấy vậy hắn nghiến răng, tuyệt đối không thể thua. Cùng là hai lưu lại còn mang nặng hơn mình nữa. Càng không thể thua kẻ đang học thân pháp của phái bí mật từ chính mình. Gã bảo chưa từng học thân pháp. Mỗi bia ngày sau khi bắt đầu huấn luyện đã tới, nhờ phi SA anh chỉ dẫn, đổi lại hắn đưa ra cái mới hấp dẫn, sẽ dạy cho ta một bộ tâm pháp nổi dạ. Hơn hết hạn là người đầu tiên, coi trọng thân pháp của tông môn ta, đến thế, vậy thì càng phải cố hơn nữa. Hắn nghiến răng lao đi thế sẽ không thua nam chính, sáng sớm chạy điên cuồng rồi vẫn khí điều tức, sau đó luyện binh khí, ăn xong bia người tách ra rèn ngoại công. Đến chiều tối thì đội thay nhau tỉ thí, hôm sau lại lặp lại y hệt, nhiều lúc kiệt sức đến mức chỉ còn thở hổn hển. Nam chính gục xuống thều thào cuối cùng cũng xong, người phụ nữ đợi nơi bìa rừng. Thấy hai người tới muộn liền gật đầu. Hôm nay ngươi tới trẻ một chút làm tốt lắm. Cậu lau mồ hôi cười ngưỡng. Tại ta hàm hồ đeo thêm ta nên hơi chậm chậm xíu. Để chắc do tu luyện chưa tới đâu, nên không kéo tốc độ lên nổi. Ha cô khoanh tay nói thêm. Tập luyện là mỗi ngày là để hơn hôm qua một chút. Đúng không công tử thiên võ chân thật đáng nể. Nam chính cười xòa ôi chẳng có gì đâu. Nhưng so với đội trưởng, thì những gì ta làm, chỉ như giọt nước giữa biển khơi thôi. Tiểu thư của kiếp trước, ngươi đã giằng tay đón ta khi tất cả đều ghét bỏ, gọi ta là đồ hèo. Từ khi ấy ta đem lòng thương nàng mà chẳng dám nói. Cũng chẳng thể cứu nàng khỏi cái chết. Giờ đây mọi thứ đang tiến triển rất tốt. Cậu khịt nhẹ kéo hơi thả khí. Có lẽ vì tiểu thư thanh niên đứng đầu làm gương nên cả đời đều chăm chú tu luyện. Riêng thanh niên hiểu thẳng, bất ngờ xin tham gia cả phần luyện ngoại công, khiến AI này ngạc nhiên. Ta vừa học hồn nguyên vô cực công, vừa tập 13 kiếm thiên vụ, tốc độ tiến bộ vượt xa kiếp trước. Nội công quyết y cấp tốc mà sao anh mới nắm được, như gắn thêm đôi cánh cho ta. Tông quân thì bổ thói chỉ mê ngoại công như kiếp trước, bắt đầu học tâm pháp của phái kim cang bật hoại, một môn pháp lấy rèn trong lẫn ngoài làm chí hướng để đạt đến mức kim cang bất hoại thực sự. Thực ra chẳng có phái kim cang bật hoại nào cả. Thu tổng, quan nhân chính là La Hán thiết thân của Thiếu Lâm, mình chỉ tô vê cho kêu để hắn có động lực, miễn là chịu rèn và cho ra kết quả tốt. Nhưng thế cũng đã là điều đáng mừng. Đội Phi Long đã 2 tháng kể từ ngày đặt chân đến đây. Nếu nhớ không lầm thì sắp xảy ra biến cố lớn. Kiếp trước vào quãng thời gian này, khoảng 50 con quái gần ấp đến như sóng dữ. Đội Phi Long vốn chưa từng đối đầu qua 6 con cùng lúc đã chịu một trận thảm họa, gần như cả một tờ bị xóa sổ. Mình không rõ nguyên nhân ngọn ngành, chỉ biết từ đó tiền tuyển lao dốc không phanh. Với thực lực và thân phận hiện giờ, mình không thể nói trước với AI, cũng chẳng thể chuẩn bị công khai. Dù biết rất rõ nó đang tới nhưng thật bực bội. Giữa rừng một gã tóc nâu nhảy ra khỏi bụi, quát môi lia lìa cau nhào. Thiệt là ở đây ta nổi tiếng quá mức rồi. Mà sao lại nổi với muối chứ? Đáng lẽ phải nối với mỹ nhân mới đúng. Bay muối vỗ về bám đất cả người gã tóc nâu. Hoàn giật này, vung tay chém xòe một đường rồi lao vứt qua bụi rậm. Chỉ trong nháy mắt kiếm ảnh đan dày như mưa, sắc muối rơi là tả. Đám đệ tử ùa lại reo ấm. Và không hồ là đội trưởng, lúc nào nhìn cũng thấy tuyệt quá. Đó là mưa kiếm dày của 72 đường kiếm phải không? Hắn cười xòa. Mấy thứ này chỉ là căn bản của môn thanh thành thôi. Mấy người thì thầm, đội trưởng chúng ta đã thề, đội trưởng đội 1 còn được gọi là Thiên Long, kiếm gió trọng, sao mà số được. Kẻ khác cưới khi, đội trưởng nhà mình là Hậu Loạn Phong, đem rộng đi so với khi thì quá đáng thật. Gã tóc nâu nổi gân cô im mồm hết cho ta. Cô phó đội nhếch môi khiến tên tóc nâu gào ấm lên. Hắn ta mới là tuổi ngoài đôi 10 đã chậm định, không giống người thường chút nào, lại còn chẳng có nhân tính. Mấy người trêu ưa quá thì tỷ phó đội thủ hẹn hò đi. Cô ngập ngừng ốm cái đó thì cả bồn phá lên. Đội trưởng lại bị từ chối nữa rồi. Gã tóc nâu đỏ mặt quát câm đi. Cũng chẳng hứng thú với phó đội đâu. Đột nhiên hắn sừng lại liếc qua rừng hạ giọng cộc lộc. Tất cả im lặng, có gì đó đang tối rất đông. Gã tóc nâu hạ thấp người, mắt quét rừng rậm bay phong thủ, cả đồi giặt ra rung thê. Mặt trời xiên qua tán lá gió rít khe khẽ, rồi bụi cây đồng loạt rung bắn bật. Từ bóng rậm lũ quái gần lao ùa ra như thác, mặt đầu lò móng vuốt tựa tủa. Tên đội trưởng quát, đối phó mẫu phát hiệu lệnh, đồng thời vung kiếm xé ngang, ánh thép quạt ngược bầy quái ở tuyến đầu. Hắn khùng lại một nhịp giật mình gì, khốn kiếp hắn kéo người gầm to mọi người rút lùi chạy. Pháo hiệu bạn phụt lên không dính liên tiếp, ít nhất có bia con trung cấp. Dùng cây vang tiếng gào đội hình vừa chạy vừa đánh, máu đen tóe ra khắp lợi, đội hình khép chặt, rồi nhanh chóng di chuyển xuyên rừng, một thoáng yên tĩnh ngắn ngủi. Cái đó là tiếng rít xe lá, lũ quái gắn tràn ra như nước lũ. Một đệ tử bị một con quái gần quát mặt, nó gầm lên lao sam sắp từng bước nền đất, hoàn toàn không để ý xung quanh. Quái gần đã khóa mục tiêu, thì gần như không phân tâm nổi. Gã đệ tử thở gấp lùi vòng cũng đổi thế chém xéo, nhưng con quái thóc tới như thú điên, bàn tay nức nẻ chột ập lấy lưỡi kiếm, máu đen phụt ra mà lục kìm vẫn càng lúc càng chặt. Vì thế nguyên tắc đối phó cơ bản là đi đôi, 2 người cùng một hướng, một người ghim mục tiêu, kẻ còn lại thừa cơ kết liễu. Khi tên đệ tử bị quái gần khóa chặt, đồng đội lướt tới bên sườn đường, kiếm xuyên vào hõm nách. Nhưng ngay lúc ấy, bàn tay sẵn sùi khác của con quái tóm kẹp cùng lưỡi thép, ánh mắt trăng rã tròng trọc. Lần đầu tiên người của đội 6 phải đối mặt, số quái gần đông hơn chính họ. Mồ hôi rin trán, vừa cầm cụ vừa tìm khe hở thoát vây, không chỉ đánh đôi cùng hướng, nhiều người còn phải tự mình đương đầu 2 con hoặc hơn. Tiếng thét xé rừng máu đen bắn tung té, đội trưởng nghiến răng xoay người chém xa, mà vẫn bị bay quái ép nghẹn. Chết tiết, tiếng kêu cứu vang dọc tán cây. Cựu tôi với một bóng người ngã xuống, lập tức bị mấy con quái phủ ấp lên cào xe. Đội trưởng quát khàn, tất cả tập trung đựng để đội hình vợ. Ăn gông thay kiếm bật sáng cắt ngang một con lao tới. Con quái gầm lên cánh tay nhô gân tóm chặt lưỡi kiếm. Cả hai dì nhau giữa rừng tối đặc mùi máu tanh, nhưng từ ở đằng sau lại có thêm một đám quái chạy tới. Rồi đội trưởng buông kiếm dung quyên đánh từng con một, liên tiếp tay trái, rồi tay phải, nhằm thẳng vào đầu của những con quái. Bội cú nến là một bóng quái bất ngựa, rồi nghĩ thầm, địch đông tới mức không thể cầm cự lâu thêm, nhất định phải mở một khe thoát dù bằng cách nào. Cùng lúc đó nam chính xuất hiện cùng với đồng đội, cậu hạ lệnh chuẩn bị đi. Mấy người còn lại lập tức xoay thành thể ba giác, lưng tựa lưng gươm chia ra trận bay quái đang ập tới. Ngay lúc quái vật tiến tới thì thân ảnh bay tới, đá nó văng xa. Ba người thoáng sư vì đà va chậm hùng hãn ấy. Nam chính cùng tông quan xuất hiện như phim siêu nhân, sắc như gai khắp mặt đất, tiếng chân quái đập rầm rầm, lao đến mặt trắng dạ. Tông quan lao lên húc đẩy một con như sách bảo, cười nói ha ha, nhẹ quá nhẹ quá. Ở phía sau đội trưởng liếc thấy bóng áo xanh của đội 7, bèn giữ người. Họ là đội 7 sao? Nhỏ họ mở lời rồi hắn quát rút lui, chạy nhanh hết mức rồi hỏi dồn. Cả các y cũng rút chữ bọn chúng đông quá. Từ me rừng vang lại tiếng nam chính, đừng lo đội trưởng Vân Thành, tôi có kế hoạch. Cậu nghiêng đầu cười đến lượt ngươi rồi đấy. Phía xa anh lôi trong tay áo ra con dao rồi khụ nhẹ vào lòng bàn tay, mắt tái vì sợ nhưng vẫn nghiến rằng chết tiết bắt mình làm trò điên rồ này. Hắn siết chặt lao thẳng vào con quái đang ập tới, bước chân nhẹ bằng thân pháp lướt như gió bóp bộp. Hắn lao vun vút, cô thầy rừng liên tiếp, bàn tay đánh lách tách vào đầu chúng, rồi lướt vứt qua như bóng chìm. Mùi tanh bốc lên, mấy con trung cấp quay ngoặt, mặt đỏ lòm gầm rỗ đuổi theo. Hắn vừa chạy vừa gào to lạc rồng để kéo hết chúng về phía mình. Thiên võ chân, cái đầu khốn 7 quái rộ cả lên, bị mùi máu và tiếng thét sát mũi. Bổ hẳn những con mối khác. Đội trưởng quan sát nhanh gắt liền, được như thể bọn chúng sẽ khó mà bám theo đội hình, thậm chí còn lôi cả mấy con trung cấp đi. Nam chính bèn chạy tới báo, các đội trưởng khác sắp đến rồi. Đúng lúc thanh niên đã khống chế được kiếm khí. Nếu đội 6 chịu phối hợp ta có thể hạ nó. Đội trưởng siết chặt tay dứt khoát không tốt. Ta dẫn đầu đừng để tụt lại, mau theo ta. Hắn cùng thanh niên bước tộc lao thẳng vào đám quái. Chuyển cảnh đến một lúc sau, ánh kiếm xanh xé dọc bầu trời, khí lạnh quét qua tán lá thân quái đỏ rạp. Khi bụi lắng xuống, các đội trưởng đã có mặt thi thể rải quanh bãi trỏng. Nam chính nhớ lại kiếp trước và bi kịch đang đến gần. Thứ duy nhất có thể làm là miệt mài rèn luyện và kéo mọi người cùng tiên. Nhưng ta không bỏ cuộc. Từ ngày mở mắt trở lại ta chưa bỏ lỡ một ngày nào. Hôm nay nhờ một khe hở nhỏ tạo nên bội chuỗi nỗ lực ấy, đồng đội được cứu. Đòn công kích của 7 quái gần lê ra phải để lại ít nhất 10 mạng. Nhờ đội trưởng và mọi người phối hợp, cuối cùng đã được dập tắt với thương vong ít nhất. Vài ngày sau cả đời trở về doanh trại giữa rừng, mùi thuốc sộc theo gió. Phí SA anh nhăn mắt bảo, giờ cả áo ta cũng ám mùi rồi. Vì thế người ta mới lười học. Nếu không có thứ mùi thuốc đó thì mấy kẻ chỉ đứng xem đã chạy đi tập từ lâu rồi. Nam chính cười đáp, ta nghĩ rắc rối thật sự nằm ở đó rồi cậu nghĩ. Đúng như SA anh nói, mấy hôm nay người kéo tới xem luyện công khá đông. Nghe tin hai người bọn họ từng dùng thân VA quạt ngã. Khoai, thư võ ngoài từng bị xem là trò vật bỏng thành hấp dẫn, nhưng khi bước vào khổ luyện thật sự đa số lại bổ dậu vậy vẫn có kẻ muốn học. Cho ra trò cô vượt qua của ai đầu một gã hưng chí hét to rằng sẽ tập mỗi ngày, còn khoe khoang ngay giữa sân, lập tức bị mọi người bịt miệng lôi đi, để cho trong chô lớp luyện mới bắt đầu. Cũng khó mà khen là trông ổn. Cùng lúc đó đoàn người nữ đổ đi ngang mấy đệ tử xì xào. Tiểu thư nhà họ Đường kia, cô ấy đẹp thật. Ánh chiều nhuộm vàng, mái tóc buộc hồ tà, áo phập phới, khí chất dịu mà sắc như gươm dấu vỗ. Giọng nói người xung quanh vang lên, đó chính là Đường tiểu thư. Đường tiểu thư đang ở đó, tuyệt vời quả nhiên danh xứng với thực. Nam chính nhìn nàng rồi nghĩ thầm, Đường Du Vân tiểu thư, vẻ đẹp này thật sự làm người ta phải kinh ngạc, cứ như là chính cô ấy đang tỏa sáng vậy. Tuy nhiên ta vẫn thấy Na Thư Dụ tiểu thư, phó đội chủ của đội ta mới là người xinh đẹp nhất, nhưng nếu nói một cách công bằng thì có lẽ chỉ có những người ở đẳng cấp như già các tiểu thư mới xứng đáng để đặt lên bàn cân mà so kè về nhan sắc. Tiếp đó, một người đàn ông xuất hiện với vẻ mặt trịnh trọng nói, rất hân hạnh được gặp mặt. Cuối cùng thì cũng có cơ hội để chào hỏi một cách đàng hoàng. Ta là Minh Sĩ Hiên, phó đội chủ của đội bìa. Thế thì, trước đây ta từng nghĩ rằng những việc các vị đang làm chẳng qua chỉ là công cốc. Thế nhưng chính các vị đã chứng minh cho ta thấy, mọi nỗ lực khổ luyện đó hoàn toàn không hề vô nghĩa. Vì vậy ta thành thật, xin lỗi, vì đã xem thường những cố gắng của mọi người. Đáp lại lời xin lỗi, giọng nói đồng thanh vang lên. Đâu có gì to tát đâu, không sao cả. Nam chính cười ha ha nói, ha ha không có gì đâu, chỉ cần ngài công nhận như vậy là chúng ta đã cảm thấy rất vui rồi. Hắn ta ghé tới tai nam chính rồi nói, mà nói thật, ta cũng rất muốn học thử ngoại công của các vị nữa. Chị e là nữ thần trong lòng, ta sẽ không thích chuyện đó lắm đâu. Bỗng một tiếng gọi lớn vang lên, phó đội chủ ngài còn không mau quay lại đây. Hắn ta quay sang giải thích, đó thấy chưa, nhìn bề ngoài vậy thôi chứ. Cô ấy kiểm soát người yêu gạt lắm đây. Ta phải đi đây, hẹn gặp lại sau nhá. Nam chính gọi với theo Minh phó đội chủ. Hắn ta quay lại vẻ mặt hơi ngạc nhiên, ha ha. Nam chính ngừng một nhịp rồi nói tiếp, chuyện đó không có gì, ngài đi đường bảo trọng. Hy vọng lần sau chúng ta sẽ có dịp cùng nhau luyện tập. Minh Sĩ Hiền bật cười đầy sảng khoái. Ha ha, đa tạ nhé, chúng ta cũng rất mong điều đó. Nam chính đừng nghĩ thầm. Minh Sĩ Hiền là một người đàn ông cởi mở đến mức thẳng thắn thừa nhận việc làm phó đối chủ dưới trưởng Đường Dự Vân. Chỉ vì đã lo yêu nàng, vốn giới trong việc kết nối lòng người, nên huynh ấy đã thay thế một Đường Dự Vân không khéo léo trong giao tiếp, để trở thành đội trưởng thực thụ của đội 3. Thế nhưng ở kiếp sống trước, huynh ấy đã ngã xuống dưới chính lưỡi kiếm của người con gái mà huynh ấy hết mức yêu thương, Đường Du Vân. Minh sĩ hiện bị giáo phái huyệt ma đoạt hồn, và Đường Du Vân, người buộc phải tự tay kết liễu, cũng vì thế mà rơi vào tuyệt vọng hoàn toàn. Rồi một ngày nọ, cô đột nhiên trở thành thê tử của Mã Du Khiêm, đội trưởng đội 4, và đến khoảnh khắc cuối cùng, chính sự phản bội của Mã Du Khiêm đã đẩy cô xuống vực thẳm. Đường Du Vân thực chất không phải là một người phụ nữ lạnh lùng và hoàn hảo như vẻ ngoài của cô ấy. Một giọng nói vang lên khiến cậu hoàn hồn. A Chân, chẳng lẽ ngươi cũng có ý với Đường tiểu thư sao? Nếu yêu đơn phương không được đáp lại thì nên chấm dứt sớm cho nhẹ lòng. Nam Chính đáp lại nói linh tinh gì thế? Ta chỉ muốn tìm cớ bắt chuyện làm quen thôi. Rồi cậu nghĩ thầm, sắp tới thiệt quy sẽ xuất hiện rồi, nên ta cần Đường tiểu thư hỗ trợ một tay. Chỉ có điều là, nghe vậy hắn kinh ngạc gì cơ? Thật Á tương tư sâu nặng đến mức chỉ cần nói chuyện thôi là đã thấy thỏa mãn rồi. Sao? Bùi Tông Quan xen vào hạ. A Chân, ngươi đang yêu thầm Đường tiểu thư đúng không? Thiên Chân vội vàng phủ nhận ấy không phải đâu. Sao mọi người lại nói như vậy? Bùi Tông Quản cười lớn. Mọi người nghe thấy gì chưa công tử nhà? Chúng ta đang tương tư Đường tiểu thư đó. Cậu hốt hoảng. Không phải như mọi người nghĩ đâu. Chúng ta có chuyện quan trọng cần bàn với Đường tiểu thư, nhưng lại không có lý do để bắt chuyện, nên tiếp đó là một hình ảnh chỉ sự im lặng kéo dài. Rồi cô nghiêm giọng nói, đã đến giờ tuần tra đêm rồi, hôm nay có lịch tuần tra, mọi người nhanh chóng đi ăn cơm rồi chuẩn bị đi. Buổi tối đèn, tuần tra đêm luôn là một chuỗi ngày dài căng thẳng. Chính là 4 hiệu quỷ, lũ ma đầu của huyết ma giáo, thường nhằm vào các đội viên để hút tinh khí hoặc thỏa mãn thú tính, nhưng chúng là mối đe dọa chết người, ngay cả đối với những cao thủ hàng đầu. Thế nhưng đội của chúng ta lại là một ngoại lệ, bởi vì chúng ta có đội trưởng Tuyết Phong, với vẻ mặt lạnh lùng và hành động dứt khoát tuyên bố, xong hết rồi không còn sót một tên nào đâu. Nhưng ngài ấy lại có một điểm yếu chết người. Một người đội viên bày tỏ sự kính trọng. Hôm nay ngài vất vả rồi đội trưởng. Tiếng reo hò cổ vũ vang lên. Đội trưởng là số 1. Ngài quá sức tuyệt vời đội trưởng ơi. Đội trưởng Tuyết Phong gãi đầu tỏ vẻ ngượng ngùng. Không ngâu gì đâu, chỉ là chuyện nhỏ thôi mà, mau đi tiếp thôi. Tiếng bước chân vang lên. Đội trưởng Tuyết Phong vô cùng ngại tiếp xúc với phụ nữ. Không phải nói là sổ mới đúng, nhưng giá mà không mắc phải cái trúng sổ phụ nữ đó thì ngài ấy thật sự hoàn hảo rồi. Kiếp trước thái độ này của ngài ấy chỉ thay đổi sau khi mất đi một người, nắm chính quyết tâm, nhưng ở kiếp này ta sẽ không để chuyện đó tái diễn. Muốn vậy trước hết phải giải quyết cái kẻ là nguồn cơn của mọi chuyện. Cái gã luôn miệng không thừa nhận, đội trưởng Tuyết Phong, nhưng chẳng bao giờ dám lộ diện mà chỉ lén lút rình rập như một con rắn độc. Phía xa anh khoanh tay khó chịu nói, khoảng 2 tuần nữa là phải đối đầu với hắn rồi. Ngươi có đủ tự tin không? Nam Chính tự tin trả lời. Ai mà biết được tự tin nổi gì chứ, cứ dốc toàn lực đánh thôi. Phía xa anh tỏ vẻ không hài lòng. Anh nói kiểu gì thế, phải đánh cho hắn ta tơi ta chứ. Tuyết Phong tiếp lời, vấn đề nằm ở nội công, giá mà tích lũy được ít nhất nửa giáp công lực để có thể vẫn được kiềm khí thì tốt biết mấy. Cô giải thích, nội công là một chuyện, nhưng còn cần phải có sự lĩnh hội để đột phá cảnh giới. Kiếm khí thường nhân thì mới vận dụng được kiếm khí. Thanh niên nghe vậy nói thêm, chuyện đó chắc không thành vấn đề đâu, vì tâm cảnh của Thiên Võ Trần công tử đã vượt qua cảnh giới Nhật Lưu rồi, chỉ có nội công là chưa theo kịp. Đúng là một người thật kỳ lạ. Phía xa anh đáp, xem ra cũng đã chuẩn bị con át trừ bài nào đó rồi. Nói thẳng ra xem nào, ở đây cũng chỉ có mấy đứa chúng ta thôi mà. Thiên Võ Trần ngập ngừng, that raw. Trước đây cha ta có tặng cho ta một viên linh dược. Phía xa anh đáp lại, ở vậy sao không dùng luôn đi? Nam Chính đáp, đó là linh dược, có khả năng giúp tăng khoảng 15 công lực. Chỉ có điều Tuyệt Phong nghe vậy đoán, chắc là vấn đề nằm ở độ tinh thần rồi. Ngoại khí tập nhầm la mà Thiên Võ Trần xác nhận. Vâng, đúng thế. Nếu hấp thu linh dược ngoại khí sẽ chiếm mặt 5 phần. Thiên Chủ Ân thì thầm, cái này là sao? Có phải chỉ có mỗi mình ta là không hiểu chuyện gì đang xảy ra không vậy? Thanh niên bèn giải thích, nếu ngoại khí từ linh dược chiếm hơn 5 phân tổng công lực, nguy cơ tấu hỏa nhập ma sẽ tăng cao đột biến. Có vẻ Thiên Võ Chân công tử đang muốn nói rằng, nếu bây giờ ngài ấy hấp thu linh dược thì sẽ rơi vào tình trạng đó. Thiên Chủ Ân đáp ngay, tẩu hỏa nhập ma. Nam Chính cười khổ rồi nghĩ thầm, đúng thế, ta đang cố trị hoãn việc hấp thu lĩnh dược đến phút cuối cùng. Nhờ có hồn nguyên vô cực, công nổi, công thuần khiết đang được tích lũy rất nhanh và vững chắc. Ta định đợi đến lúc an toàn nhất mới sử dụng. Đối thủ chỉ tầm nhất lưu trung cấp, thì với thực lực hiện tại, ta nghĩ mình vẫn đủ sức đối phó. Và lại Bùi Tông Quản về bất lực ta cũng chịu. Ta chưa từng ăn món đó bao giờ Thiên tiểu thư. Cô vui vẻ cười nói, thì ra là vậy, Bùi công tử cũng có điểm giống ta ghê. Nghe vậy hắn đỏ ửng mặt vì ngại. Rồi cô nói với Nam Chính, nào là chân tị thí của Thiên Võ Chân công tử mà thôi. Sắp tới có nhiều chuyện phải lo rồi đây. Cứ thấy không quen kiểu gì ấy. Ta chỉ quen xông pha tiền tuyển, chém giết ma nhân thôi chứ. Những sự kiện kiểu này ta chưa từng trải qua bao giờ. Nam Chính nghĩ thầm mà nhắc mới nhớ. Cuộc hội đàm đó lại được tổ chức ngay tại 13 đội của chúng ta. Đó là một cuộc hội đàm, lời nói suông thuần túy, trong một bầu không khí bình lặng đến lạ thường. Phía xa anh chất đầy bực bội, cứ nghĩ đến cảnh phó đội chủ lại bay cho nịnh nọt để lấy lòng cấp trên là thầy Son Jaga, nào là chỉnh đốn đội hình, nào là tổng vệ sinh, cứ làm như trời sắp đến nơi không bằng. Mà tại sao lại phải tổ chức ở 13 đội chủ? Thanh niên đặt câu hỏi, nhưng mà mọi người không thấy là chỉ cần ngoại khí vượt quá 5 phần là đã có nguy cơ tấu họa nhập ma rồi. Vậy mà lũ ma đầu huyết mà giáo chuyên hút tinh khí để tăng công lực, rốt cuộc tại sao chúng nó vẫn sống nhăn răng được nhỉ? Nam Chính thể hiện sự ngạc nhiên rồi cậu nghĩ thầm, U Nhi, bọn chúng chủ yếu tích lũy công lực bằng cách hút tinh khí của người khác. Sao chúng nó vẫn bình an vô sự được nhỉ? Ngươi chuyển cảnh đến nơi khác, một tên đang tập luyện. Mã Du Khiêm đứng bên cạnh bình luận. Quả nhiên có mục tiêu rõ ràng. Tiến bộ cũng nhanh hơn hẳn. Tiến bộ vượt bậc đầy. Giờ ngươi có thể tự tin. Mình là cao thủ nhất lưu thượng cấp rồi. Nghe vậy hắn cúi đầu cảm ơn đa tạ trưởng môn sư huynh. Tất cả là nhờ sư huynh tận tình chỉ dạy hắn nói thêm. Ta không nghĩ ngươi sẽ thua một thằng nhóc hai lưu đâu. Nhưng đừng bao giờ nghĩ rằng chỉ cần không thua là đủ. Ngươi phải thể hiện sức mạnh, áp đảo tuyệt đối. Cho xưng danh đệ tử phái điểm thưởng. Rõ chưa? Hẳn đáp ngay. Vâng thưa sư huynh. Mã Du Khiêm hài lòng với vẻ mặt đầy âm mưu nghĩ tốt. Phải cho thằng đó biết. Hắn đã bỏ lỡ một cơ hội vàng ngọc thế nào. Hãy cho hắn thầm đến tận xương tùy cái giá của việc. Dám từ chối điểm thưởng. Từ chối một người như Mã Du Khiêm ta. Chuyển cảnh đến nam chính. Một giọng nói vang lên. Đúng thế. Sao mấy tên lính mới đó mà lại tóm được hiệu quỷ ư? Nam chính nói thêm. Kẻ hạ gục con ma nhân muội chính là thanh niên tiểu thư đang đứng ngay bên cạnh ta đây. Thanh niên khiêm tốn trả lời. Với cái trình hai lưu cùi bắp như ta thì làm được trò trong gì đâu. Dù võ công của tiểu nữ có nhỉnh hơn một chút, nhưng chính công tử đã giận dữ con ma nhân. Immune to sword key. Thanks to that my life was saved. Prying its eyelids open, forcing its mouth open. It was all thanks to young master Tian Wuzhen. I just followed the young master's instructions and thrust my sword key into the fiend's mouth, that's all. Hearing this, Tang Duyun interrogated. How did you know the Xiaogui is weak to light? Tian Wuzhen replied. I just looked up some information beforehand. To prepare for the front lines. It was pure luck. Then the man looked at the protagonist, thinking, someone who has never faced a fiend before, and a pathetic second-rate martial artist at that dared to risk his life charging at it. He must have put in a lot of effort, considering that frontline information is extremely tightly controlled. There's no more room for doubt. Even if he's only second-rate, he is a seed well worth cultivating. Then he spoke up. Knowing the Xiaogui fears light is one thing, but actually pulling its eyelids open is another matter entirely. I like him. Great Chief, I will take him to Squad 4. Our squad is also short on people, so is that all right? Suddenly his determined voice rang out. No. The man was surprised to hear that. What? What do you mean, no? You dare refuse my invitation? Immediately he turned to Captain Shui Feng, who was standing there. The protagonist said at once, You are Captain Shui Feng, aren't you? Ever since I heard news from the front lines, please accept me. I have always dreamed of joining the squad. Of Captain Shui Feng. Captain Shu Feng was surprised. Me? He said enthusiastically, that's right. You can shatter those blade-proof monsters with your bare hands. Ever since I heard that legend, I was determined to join Captain Shui Feng's squad at all costs, to learn your fist techniques. Ma Yuqian said angrily, Ha! To reject me, the son of the great Diankang sect's master, to follow that pathetic Squad 7? Why would you, the dignified third young master of Guizhou's three great families, want to burrow into a place full of riffraff from minor sects and guys who practice external arts, looking like a bunch of snake oil salesmen? The protagonist ignored him and continued, external arts. I really want to learn that too. I absolutely have to find out. Whose skin is tougher, mine or the blood cult fiends? Zhu Feng placed a hand on his shoulder and said, Such spirit? And you want to take down fiends with your bare hands? Excellent young master Tian Wuzhen. Follow me. I will forge your body to be even tougher than a fiend's. The protagonist replied, Yes, Captain Shu Feng. Ma Yuqian gritted his teeth in anger as he witnessed it all. Just thinking about it makes my blood boil. Cut to the present. Moreover, he's only been on the front lines for a short time, and he's already achieved such a great merit. As expected, back then, even if I had to use some tricks, I should have dragged him over no matter what. And I must make him pay the price for daring to refuse my invitation, the son of the great Diankang sect's master. He left adding, Just let him know what kind of place the Diankang sect is. He replied with cupped hands, Yes, sir, please rest assured. He continued in his head, I must make that guy taste bitterness. One doesn't simply let someone who has insulted them live in peace. Ha, senior brother, you worry for nothing. But don't kill or seriously injure him. Why do you look so surprised? Were you planning to kill a comrade? Someone who will fight shoulder to shoulder with me. Against the fiends of the blood cult. He hurriedly explained, No, that's not it. I just wanted to teach him a lesson he'll never forget. Yes. He radiated a stern aura reminding Zhu Taiqing, our ultimate mission is to defeat the blood cult and reclaim our main mountain. You haven't forgotten that, have you? He immediately replied, Yes. Of course I haven't forgotten. Ma Yuqian continued, For the greater good, even if the enemy is a bunch of heretical riffraff, we must still join hands, yes. What's more, this is a comrade, sharing the same battle line with me against the blood cult fiends. I trust you're not the kind of fool who would do something so reckless. Is that clear? He bowed and replied, Yes, yes. I understand, senior brother, yes. Nashuyu was looking at Shui Feng and said, Now look straight into my eyes, Fei Sha'an whispered. Look at the squad leader. Could it be that he has to be mesmerized to become a proper person? He needs to get married too. Zhongguan laughed. Sha'an, you can't even talk to women. Do you also need to be mesmerized to get a wife? He jumped in surprise. What? It's not that I can't talk, I just don't bother to. The protagonist chimed in. Oh, is that so? He turned his head to answer. It's just that I don't see the need. Immediately, she called him out. Excellent. Then the next person is young Master Fei. Please come here and look into my eyes for a moment. Fei Sha'an grumbled. Humph. You all think I don't dare. At our barracks, we are conducting a check to see if any male squad members have been mesmerized. Someone from the Blue Dragon 10th Squad was harmed due to mesmerism, so an official notice was sent down, requesting all squad members to be checked. The matter of someone being mesmerized by the blood cult still happens occasionally on the front lines, and it's a far more terrifying thing than the appearance of a fiend or a demon, because they not only lose the comrade they trusted, but they also have to end that person with their own hands. The method to undo the blood cult's mesmerism has yet to be clarified, Miss Na said gently. Now please look straight into my eyes. Fei Sha'an furtively glanced at Miss Na, surprised. Hey, what was that? Why just a quick glance like that? You have to stare, the protagonist added. That's right, Sha'an. You have to look straight at her. Where'd all that bravado from before go? This is Xuefeng laughing heartily. Now you look just like me. And just a moment ago you were acting so high and mighty with me. He was startled and quickly said, no, actually this is enough. It's confirmed I'm not mesmerized. There's nothing more to it, right, Vice Captain? Miss Na replied. Yes, well, seeing as young Master Fei doesn't dare to look me straight in the eye, it seems you're still normal. Whether someone is mesmerized or not is usually judged by their eyes, because the life force in the eyes of those who are mesmerized will disappear. The role of judging this is usually taken by a woman. That's because women are more sensitive to unusual changes in their comrades, and this is also the reason why all the squads on the front lines are organized in a mixed gender format. Miss Na said, All right, it's young Master Tian Wuzhen's turn. He clutched his chest, thinking, I have to look straight into Miss Na's eyes. If I could, I'd want to do that all day long. Fei Sha'an cursed angrily. Humph! You bastard, Ajin! Let's see how long you can act so dignified. The protagonist thought, why even try? This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to look into Miss Na's eyes. I have to take this chance to admire Miss Na's beauty to my heart's content. Her eyes gentle as a puppy's, her soft smile, as if it understands and accepts everything in the world. A kind and beautiful face that can heal all things. Miss Na Shuyu? Poof, poof! The protagonist's face turned redder than a tomato. A loud laugh, then a burst of laughter. What the hell is that? How can your face get that red? Zhongguan added. Sorry, Ajin. I should have just told you to try a little harder. Xuefeng continued to laugh. Ha ha, Ajin. You haven't even managed to look at her face, and you're already blushing like that. What good are you? She commented on the protagonist. With this, there's no need to even look into your eyes. I never thought there'd be someone even worse than the captain. Tian Wuzhen was flustered, thinking, wait a minute. Why is there no need to look in my eyes, no way, young lady? Then he stammered, no, what I mean is... Miss Na interrupted gently. Don't push yourself too hard, young Master Tian Wuzhen. You must be tired. I'm sorry for teasing you. Tian Wuzhen was disappointed. That's not what I meant, the protagonist thought to himself. This was a godsend opportunity for me to gaze upon Miss Na to my heart's content. Fei Sha'an cut in to ask, by the way, Vice Captain, have you checked the young lady's eyes yet? The protagonist looked it over, thinking, now that you mention it, I've been traveling with her for a long time, but have never seen her face. Last time I asked, she said she had a scar and couldn't show me. If that's true, then I have no choice. But I have a feeling she's hiding something. Miss Na touched her chin and added, Zhuan and I have already checked. The young lady can't help but cover her face. The protagonist asked at once, why is that? She replied, because if she didn't cover her face, it would cause chaos. He showed a surprised and innocent face. I guess she covers her face because she's too beautiful. Everyone, There's a rumor that this time more than one Zhu Gui has appeared. They exchanged wary glances. Zhu Feng spoke elegantly. Thank you, young lady. I will definitely remain on high alert. The Zhu Gui is a vicious type of fiend. The more lifeblood they absorb, the more formidable they become. One that has just absorbed the lifeblood of 5 people is heading straight for us. It doesn't use stellar energy, but its body is tougher than a master who has just reached the peak realm. Furthermore, once it has absorbed lifeblood, it will become even more cunning, and finding it now will not be a simple matter. Tian Wuzhen asked the young ladies about their plans. One of them replied that they planned to train in the area around the inn. The protagonist replied, yes, I understand. At that moment, a memory fragment suddenly flooded into Tian Wuzhen's mind. In my past life around this time, young Lady Tian lost her life, but this time, Young Lady Tian is in the same squad as me, and Miss Na is with the other young lady, so perhaps it will be safe. It's still best to be cautious. Tian Wuzhen still gave a warning to avoid risks. I hope the young ladies will not enter the forest recklessly or go to deserted places. If something happens while the captain is away, it will be very troublesome. She comforted him. Young Master Tian Wuzhen, you don't need to worry so much. Thank you. And scene changed to a while later. Suddenly he noticed a new person had appeared. That person is the vice captain of Squad 4, Miss Mei Rujing. The protagonist thought to himself, Mei Rujing, along with Tang Duyun and Ma Yuqian, are all names I'm paying special attention to. She is the one who will be killed by the Zhu Gui, and also the reason Ma Yuqian becomes crippled. Although that happened after the Blood Righteousness Assembly, I still can't ignore it. The protagonist looked at her and asked, Miss Mei, who are you looking for? Mei Rujing replied with a troubled expression. I'm looking for a squad member, Sun Healing. She seemed troubled lately, which makes me a little uneasy, and now I can't find her anywhere. The protagonist replied, Miss Sun Healing, if I see her, I'll let her know Miss Mei is looking for her. He thanked him and left. Bui Zongguan beside him added, Young Master, her fiancé was killed by the Seven Forms twin killers last time. Wasn't he? That's right, I heard that after that, she still hasn't gotten over it and is in great pain. The protagonist was stunned. Lost the one she loves. Then Sha'an continued, It happened right before you got here, Ajen. Miss Sun's lover was killed by the Seven Forms twin killers. I heard they were deeply in love. But on this battlefield, that's a common occurrence. Lose a lover, then find another and move on. Therefore, the unbreakable rule here is very simple. Whether you're alive or dead, you must bury the old shadows in the past. Tian Wuzhen pondered, Is that so? What a pity. But then he suddenly remembered, Wait a minute. In my past life, I heard that Miss Tian went into the forest to comfort a comrade and then met with a mishap and never returned. If so, could it be this very incident? His comrade, seeing his agitation, asked, What's wrong, Ajen? Why the sudden anxious and pensive look? Zongguan chimed in. That's right. Or did the immortal give you another dream prophecy? The protagonist said with a worried expression. I have a very bad feeling. We have to go find Miss Sun. He decided to enter the forest with Zongguan and Sha'an. Zongguan asked worriedly, Will it be safe with just a few of us going? Sha'an teased, What are you scared? He clarified. No, that's not it. It's just that the forest is very dangerous lately. Then Sha'an added, If the three of us team up, what's a bunch of gangui? If it's really dangerous, running away is the best plan. Besides, isn't the Zhu Gui operating in the eastern forest? Tian Wuzhen called out loudly, Miss Sun Healing, are you around here? Then the group stopped. The protagonist instructed his comrades, For now, let's split up. Search while maintaining a safe distance from each other. Just then a loud noise erupted from a distance. The protagonist dashed towards the source of the sound, saying, Let's go. When he arrived, his face darkened. Over there was a pack of gangui. Without hesitation, Zongguan made his move using the diamond flying star to annihilate the gangui. The protagonist also rushed out, attacking them one by one. After defeating them, they approached the area and were horrified to realize we're one step too late. It was clearly still alive just a moment ago. The protagonist looked at the mangled corpse and thought, even if there were a large number of gangui, it's truly too tragic. They couldn't have been dismembered so horribly. In just a moment, what are these bite marks? The protagonist suddenly realized the terrifying danger. Could it be? Then he shouted, Zongguan, fall back now. We have to run. We need to retreat immediately. There's a Zhu Gui around here. When they turned around, the three of them shuddered at the sight of a hideous dark figure. It was a Zhu Gui standing there. Tian Wuzhen hissed through his teeth. Damn it all! Fei Sha'an blurted out. It's looking at us and smirking. A fiend that knows how to smile. That scream. It must have made it intentionally to lure us here. The protagonist quickly gave an order. On the count of 3, everyone run south. Ready? 1, 2, 3. The group fled for their lives. It clung closely behind them, causing Fei Sha'an to panic. Unbelievable. What kind of terrifying speed is that? What should we do now? Should we split up and run? Tian Wuzhen quickly calculated. The Zhu Gui's speed is comparable to mine, but it's still not as fast as Shan. If the 3 of us split up, 2 of us might be able to survive, but the last one will definitely die. And that person is... At that moment, Zongguan decided to sacrifice himself. Run, my comrades who have journeyed with me. I will hold it back. I entrust the rest of my life to you all. You must live. The protagonist turned his head stunned and uttered, This guy? It was the same in the last life. You wore the exact same smile back then. Then you let a weakling like me run ahead and said the exact same thing. In this respect, I can't believe I have to go through this one more time. He stayed calm. Tian Wuzhen, you must be truly calm. The pack of Gangui is in hot pursuit behind us. That's right. In this dire situation, there's no possibility of all three of us surviving. Absolutely not. This is already irreversible. The protagonist turned his head and said to Zhongguan, "The Gangui are yours." He replied immediately, "Got it. Leave it to me." Tian Wuzhen said decisively, "Go quickly. Go, Shan, leave the Zhugui to me." Shan was stunned. "What?" Hearing this, Zhongguan stammered, "What did you just say?" The protagonist cut his hand, letting blood flow in a stream. Then he urged, "Go quickly, Shan. Hurry and find the captain to come here, before we lose our lives." Zhongguan shouted, "Shan, what are you waiting for? Go call the captain to save Zhen." Shan cried out in desperation, "You absolutely cannot die, you bastards. If you die, I'll go with you." The protagonist smiled and said, "You idiot. If you die just like that, I won't forgive you even in the underworld." At that moment, the protagonist's body channeled purple energy. Tian Wuzhen was fighting with all his might. Although that Zhu Gui has a strong body, no matter how strong it is, the protagonist knew that. An ignorant outsider shouldn't even dream of piercing this illusion sword. He continuously dodged and looked for a way to counterattack. The Zhu Gui let out a horrifying roar. The protagonist dodged a fatal blow, but in his mind, a worried voice still echoed. "Damn it," he thought to himself. "If it ignores me, its next target will definitely be Zhongguan." In the distance, Zhongguan was still holding his ground steadily. But with Zhongguan's strength, he can't possibly eliminate all those remaining demons. If this drags on, when his strength is depleted, the situation will become helpless. Tian Wuzhen affirmed in his heart, "I absolutely cannot let this Zhu Gui get close to Zhongguan." The protagonist charged straight ahead, his determined gaze shouting, "Come on, you damn spider!" The Zhu Gui whipped around, its hideous face showing anger. It raised its sharp claws, attacking towards Tian Wuzhen. The protagonist skillfully leaned, dodging the blow with his footwork, which was extremely agile. He never stopped moving, trying to maintain his distance. A powerful swipe from the Zhu Gui grazed his shoulder, but Tian Wuzhen had already retreated in time, leaving an empty space. The Zhu Gui roared furiously. It unleashed lightning-fast attacks. The protagonist dodged by a hair's breadth. Meanwhile, he quietly murmured a phrase, encouraging his comrade who was running far away. "Shan, your footwork is what has kept me alive until now. If you can bring the captain here before I fall, I will call you Big Brother." The oath was uttered in a moment of life and death, accompanied by the angry growl of the Zhu Gui as it was continuously led around by Tian Wuzhen. The Zhu Gui continuously gave chase, creating loud noises that shook the entire forest. Over with Zhongguan. He was holding his own amidst a swarm of Gangui. The protagonist thought to himself, "Zhongguan's movements have slowed down. It seems he's getting tired." He noticed his comrade was starting to get exhausted, while he himself didn't know how much longer he could shake off the monster. Even if Shan arrives and immediately brings the captain for reinforcements, I'm not sure I can hold out until then. This Zhu Gui's physique surpasses even that of a peak master. Its shell is so hard that sword chi can barely penetrate it. Its eyes and mouth are weak points, but it doesn't leave any openings for others to exploit. The protagonist panted and said to himself, "To put it bluntly, I can't even find an opening to draw my sword. Once it catches up to me, I'm definitely dead." A sense of despair washed over him, and he uttered bitterly, "Damn it, I'd rather run into a Xiaogui at night than encounter a Zhu Gui in broad daylight." Wait a minute. At night there's the Xiaogui, during the day there's the Zhu Gui. There must be a rocky mountain around this forest. Although it was just a gamble, Tian Wuzhen knew well that it might be the only path to survival right now. The protagonist immediately turned, heading straight for the Rocky Mountain area. The Zhu Gui still chased frantically behind. He ran faster, using the treacherous terrain to slow down the monster's speed. The Zhu Gui roared but couldn't catch up to him. The protagonist jumped onto a high cliff, observing the immobilized Zhu Gui. Let's see how this goes. The Xiaogui is usually active at night, while the Zhu Gui is active during the day. This means the Zhu Gui's primary sense is its sight. Once it loses the light, it can only rely on its sense of smell. The Zhu Gui still growled in the darkness. It was stunned and panicked, unable to see Tian Wuzhen. Just as I thought. Now it can't see me. But neither can I. The protagonist took a deep breath, trying to keep his mind completely silent. He recalled the sensory training sessions, with the captain trying to utilize every sense in his body to grasp every small movement of the Zhu Gui. The opportunity will only come once. I have to aim for the exact moment it lunges. Don't rush. Feel its position, its actions, and even its shape. Feel the flow of the space around it. Tian Wuzhen closed his eyes, concentrating completely. Now is the time. As fast as a flash of lightning, the protagonist swung his sword. The sharp sword chi pierced through the tough shell, stabbing straight into the Zhu Gui's weak point. The monster let out a tragic scream. A terrifying sound echoed throughout the cave. Wujin panted heavily, feeling his strength nearly depleted. He rejoiced, thinking, success. He had no more time to hesitate. He immediately pulled out his sword and turned to run back towards Zhongguan. The protagonist called out loudly, Zhongguan. Zhongguan, who was struggling with the remaining demons, turned his head upon hearing the hurried footsteps. Ah, Jen! Tian Wujian's face was smeared with sweat and dirt, but his determined gaze remained unchanged. Let's go back. Scene changed to a while later. Fei Sha'an returned and said loudly, You bastards, you sons of bitches! It's a damn good thing you're still alive, you bastards. The protagonist and Zhongguan were standing before him. Both showed relief at having escaped death. Zhongguan continued, It's all thanks to Xian bringing the captain in time. Coming out from the cave, Zuefeng looked happily at the protagonist and said, Truly formidable. As a second-rate, you were able to make a Zhu Gui reveal an opening and deliver a fatal blow. His eyes were fixed on Tian Wujian. Therefore, he raised his head, his determined gaze directed at the captain. I have a request, Captain. He listened in silence. Tian Wujian bowed his head and said seriously, Please keep this matter a secret. But no one will believe that I could defeat a Zhu Gui with my current weak strength. I don't want to attract any more attention. The captain was a little surprised. He pondered, In that case you won't get any merit. Or fame. The protagonist replied with a faint smile, his eyes full of satisfaction. It's fine. As long as my comrades and I were able to stay alive, that's more than enough for me. Under the dim light, his face showed a look of contentment. Then the scene shifted to the forest at night. He was lost running everywhere, calling for Captain Zuefeng. Suddenly he froze, staring at the sea of flames before him. The demon stood on a mountain of corpses. It turned to look at him. Suddenly he jolted awake, drenched in sweat. A terrifying nightmare had just invaded his mind. He panted, looking around the room, then reassured himself, The captain. The captain must have gone to train today as well. I can't believe I dreamed about that. That nightmare was a memory from my past life. He painfully recalled the tragedy, where the people he loved died one by one, and wondered, but it's very likely to happen again. I've always believed that. In this life I've tried my best, because I was able to save the friends I once lost. I'm also risking my life to cultivate and reach the highest realm. But is that enough? Soon the Iron Demon, then the Poison Serpent Demon, will appear one by one. In my past life I also had to struggle to survive, as I lost my comrades one by one. But in the end, all the demons were just sacrifices to create the Blood Demon. 5 years later, the Blood Demon, who was said to possess the ultimate level of martial arts, will appear. 2 years later, the front line will collapse. The Blood Cult completely ignored the Murim Alliance's treaty and deliberately expanded its territory. I died on the battlefield, so I don't know what happened after. I don't know if the Murim Alliance ultimately won, or if the Blood Cult ruled the world. Tian Wujian clenched his fist. Whatever the future holds, the only thing I can do is to risk my life and cultivate. So every day I just bury my head in training. But whenever I have a nightmare, I always ask myself if this is really enough. How could it be enough? There are only 2 days left until the competition. With Zhu Taegyong. Yes, the young lady thought to herself. And yet today of all days I have to patrol the front lines. I want to train a little more, in the middle of the front lines, and I'm regretting a little bit of evening training. I can't believe I'm like this now. Once I decided to go to the front lines, I had already accepted that I would die. That year when Na Seoyu was 7 years old, her biological mother passed away. All power in the Na family fell into the hands of her stepmother. In a lavish setting, the arrogant stepmother said, Let her go to the front lines. She didn't even try to hide her favoritism for him. Her younger brother, who was 3 years younger than Na Seoyu. Your brother is the one who will carry on the family line. How can we let him go to the front lines? A dangerous place like that. For the sake of our Na family, you should make a little sacrifice. It was difficult and unfair, but she had to endure it. She believed that her sacrifice was for her father, for the Na family. Yes, mother, I understand. Even knowing that leaving was a death sentence, but Na Seoyu didn't know how to refuse. She also didn't know how to resist, because she had been living like that for too long. And in fact, on her very first patrol of the front lines, Na Seoyu had a near-death experience. She and her comrades were in the forest. Her comrade ordered, Spread out and search for enemy tracks. There's definitely a Zhu Gui hiding in this forest. Na Seoyu carefully entered the deep forest. Suddenly she discovered a horrifying scene. She exclaimed, This is... She saw scratches and teeth marks. The teeth marks of a Zhu Gui. There's a Zhu Gui nearby. I have to fire a signal flare to warn the squad members. But before she could act, a dark shadow suddenly appeared. She managed to cry out. Na Seoyu realized the danger. A ferocious-looking person appeared. His face was contorted and he laughed, Heh, a pretty little girl, not bad. An unexpected harvest. I'm starting to like this. I'll have to take you back and love you all night to be satisfied. That bastard roughly grabbed Nasoyu. He squinted his eyes, his disgusting face leaning in close to her. At the most dangerous moment, a figure appeared and attacked the bastard. He turned around in shock and yelled, "Who dares to act so boldly in my presence?" The person who had just appeared was the captain. But with movements as fast as the wind, he had saved her. The captain stood in front of Nasoyu, his eyes resolute. The bastard was stunned by the surprise. Nasoyu looked at the captain with admiration. "What just happened? I thought I was dead for sure." "It's too quiet." The captain turned back and looked at her with concern. "Little sister, are you all right? Are you hurt anywhere?" He looked at her awkwardly. "It's all right now." The captain sighed in relief, then suddenly realized something. "Oh, that's right. You've been acupunctured. Sit still. Let me release the points for you." He carefully pressed his hand on her acupuncture points, releasing the blocked points. Nasoyu recalled, "At that time I even forgot my fear. I even giggled." Later, when he was chosen as the captain of the newly formed 7th Squad, I also followed him to the squad. I had to go through many hardships for so many years, but I can still confidently say that was the happiest time of my life, even if I were to die tomorrow. Lately, practicing external martial arts has made my body so heavy. I'm not as agile as I used to be, but Zhongguan thought he still looked fine. Nasoyu turned her head and said, "Young Master Pai, your aura has improved a lot lately. You look much more imposing than before." Young Master Pai seemed surprised and couldn't believe this compliment, but she insisted it was the truth. The whole group was laughing and talking happily, but she secretly looked at them and thought, "Young Master Bui, no woman likes a man who is too ostentatious. The secret is to know how to care for someone quietly." Next is young Master Cheonmujin. Lately he seems to be deep in thought, as if he has something on his mind. Everyone probably thinks it's because of the duel with young Master Ju, so they pretend not to know. But it's young Master Cheonmujin's melancholy that's bringing down the whole team's mood. Even young Lady Chongyun. Anyun was also affected by our last conversation. It's been weighing on her mind ever since. It's true. At first I thought Cheonmujin and Chongyun were a couple, or at least interested in each other, because I saw Anyun follow young Master Cheonmujin into the sect shrine. She burst out laughing in surprise. She asked again, "You think so too?" Then she added, "Anyun's expression has been strange lately too." The young man suddenly blurted out a confession. "I like young Master Cheonmujin." Nayudu thought it was just a feeling of comradeship and replied, "You like young Master Cheonmujin?" "Of course I'm very fond of him too. He is a precious comrade and a trustworthy person." Another person added, "That's right, besides he's lost weight recently and looks unusually handsome." "But sis, what we meant was not—" But the young man quickly cut him off. As he was about to explain, she affirmed, "I know what you all are trying to say. I like young Master Cheonmujin. It's the kind of like a woman has for a man." Everyone was shocked, unable to believe this truth. They asked again, "No, really? When Cheonmujin said he had a crush on Miss Dang, you seemed so nonchalant?" The young man replied calmly, "It's true that he seemed interested, but it didn't seem like the kind of interest for a woman. On the contrary, I've had my eye on him since he was chubby. That's just my type. But even after he lost weight, my feelings haven't changed. Maybe I saw something more than just his appearance." Cheonju-yoon wondered and urged, "So why aren't you doing anything about it? Like showing Cheonmujin your real face, or getting closer to him?" The young man smiled and replied calmly, "Why do I need to act? Why do I have to do something? Just being by his side, watching over him like this is enough for me. I'm very satisfied." They sighed after hearing that, realizing they had overheard something they shouldn't have, so it was hard to interfere. In the peaceful scene, the captain, hearing a strange noise, quickly charged forward to attack. Then a cry for help rang out. With a frightened expression he appeared. He introduced himself as a member of the Mayo tribe, living deep in the forest. Not a monster, just a lucky survivor. He made an earnest plea. "Doc No, our benefactor is coughing up blood. Without him, we'll all die. Please help us." Miss Na summarized the situation. "In short, when the Mayo tribe was captured before, only your tribe was safe, thanks to a person named Doc No. And now that person is coughing up blood. His life hanging by a thread, right? Symptoms like that, could it be chi deviation? It's very possible. The internal energy reversed during cultivation of martial arts. In the distance, he continued, It seems we'll have to go all the way to the immortal spring to ask for help." The Mayo people, once again, affirmed that Doc No was their benefactor and earnestly pleaded. However, another person in the group stepped forward, his reaction full of suspicion and sarcasm. "What are you waiting for? It's clearly a blatant lie. From the very beginning in that forest full of demons, you Mayo people don't practice martial arts. If you did, how could you have survived? The Mio tribesman retorted sharply, I'm not lying. This is the scent Doc No gave me. The monsters all run away when they smell it. If it weren't for him, we would all be dead. The group's attention shifted to the mysterious scent. The Mio tribesman explained, it's something the monsters hate. And thanks to this, which Doc No gave me, the monsters won't come near. Cheon Mujin, the main character, spoke up and suggested to the squad leader, let's go take a look, squad leader. This scent pouch alone is worth a trip. Isn't it? Ju Taegyong vehemently objected. What nonsense are you talking? You believe in some scent pouch of unknown origin? And just blindly go there. And besides, even if it's true, we're going to kill... Demons not chased them away with some scent. Cheon Mujin continued to reason with the squad leader. They said they live deep in the forest. That means they're very familiar with the terrain. We'll have to go deep inside there anyway. Isn't that right? Ju Taegyong retorted angrily. What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. The Blood Cult and the Murim Alliance have signed a non-aggression pact. You're acting on your own. Cheon Mujin replied with a contemptuous attitude. Because of that non-aggression pact, we're being harassed by demons every day. Isn't that right? And isn't Ju Taegyong a disciple of the Jomchang sect? I didn't expect you to say such things. Cheon Mujin's words touched a nerve. It made Ju Taegyong so angry he couldn't speak. Cheon Mujin asked decisively, do you mean to be stuck here for all eternity? Forever. Have you forgotten all about attacking the Blood Cult? And reclaiming Bonsan? Team leader Seo Pung turned and asked, how long will it take to get there? The Mio tribesman replied, half a day. If we go quickly, it'll be half a day. The squad leader seemed worried. Time is tight. It's not certain we can even treat him. Just going like this seems too risky. Ju Taegyong emphasized, and clearly that is an act of desertion. I'm sure you know this is a crime punishable by severe punishment. Cheon Mujin reassured everyone, don't worry. I have no intention of asking you to come with me. He was surprised by this. What? He continued. We don't all need to go together. Me, the squad leader, and Pisa-an. The three of us will go ahead quickly. This young man, the squad leader, and I will take turns carrying him. As for deserting our post, that place must be crawling with demons, meaning monsters, right? Among them, are there any that absorb essence to get stronger? The kind that's like a spider quietly hiding. And then attacking. The Mio tribesman confirmed in fear. Yes, that's right. Those things are very dangerous, very scary. Cheon Mujin continued. There's a Chu Gui there. Shouldn't we go after it and deal with it? This made the squad leader have to admit, it seems we have no choice but to go. The young lady stepped forward and replied, I'll go with you. My speed is no less than Cheon Mujin's. I won't slow you down. The squad leader was pleased. Good. With the young lady coming with us, I feel much more at ease. The rear guard will depend on you, deputy squad leader. I have to leave you in charge of the squad again. I feel so bad. The deputy squad leader replied with confidence. Be careful on your way. I'll be waiting for news here. Just then Ju Taegyong blocked the main character, his tone full of provocation. Before you go, remember this, Cheon Mujin. No matter how tired you are, the duel will not be postponed. You're not planning on using this as an excuse to run, are you? Cheon Mujin replied with a cold, disdainful look. You're delusional. Compared to this, the fight, duel is not worth worrying about. Don't flatter yourself. These words made his opponent furious. He asked again, you. What did you say? Although the young Mio tribesman agreed to the request, but the fact that he was acupunctured and then carried away like a sack of potatoes, and was still happy about it, was a rare and optimistic personality. In his past life, this young Mio tribesman had come to find Feta with a similar request, but at that time we had refused him. That seemed like it wouldn't change anything, which made the main character think it was just a fleeting connection. But then a horrifying event occurred. The poison serpent Gui appeared. It was a sky demon capable of inflicting poison just by getting close. This caused 20 people in the 13th squad to be poisoned. Tragically, among them was Miss Na. The incident happened just as squad leader, was leading his troops to rescue Ju Taegyong's group. Even the resident physician of the 13th squad, and even Miss Dang of the Dang family, who was famous for her medical skills, were helpless. They couldn't cure that deadly poison. Comrades fell one by one, unable to fight back. Squad leader Fum was in extreme pain. He remembered Miss Dang's advice that a powerful antidote could be found near the poisonous creature's lair. The captain went alone into the dangerous, dense forest. 2 days later, with the help of the Mio tribe, the captain brought back the antidote and saved a few comrades, but Miss Na was gone. It was too late when he returned. That tragedy changed everyone in the squad. The captain lost the warmth in his heart and became cold, and his companion, Sa'an, immersed himself in training for revenge. In the end, the captain became the flying dragon of the wind. As for Sao, he also reached the highest level of first-class martial arts. The main character muttered to himself, I'm not sure if the Mayo people who helped the captain back then is the same. Young man leading the way now. But if there's a possibility, then this is a chance worth taking. Then the whole group stopped and the Mayo tribesman spoke, breaking the silence of the deep forest night. I will lead the way from here. It's already dark. There's no path in this forest. There are many animals. Everyone stay close behind me. The main character looked up at the sky and thought, luckily the sky still has bright stars. Then he turned and added, and take this opportunity to also practice sensing things by closing our eyes like the captain. Here, Sa'an immediately complained, his voice full of exhaustion. Hey, easy for you to say. I'm already dead tired. Now you're adding more training. Then the Mio tribesman turned back and said, stay closer. This place is full of poisonous snakes and insects. We have to be quiet. Suddenly, the whole group exclaimed in surprise when they heard a strange noise. What was that? The captain grabbed the lunging snake and replied, this is a three-colored python. Didn't people say this is an extremely rare poisonous creature? Seems that's not the case here. The Mayo tribesman, seeing this, exclaimed, amazing. Besides, Doc, no one has ever been able to do that. He asked again, are there really so many of these things here? Then the Mayo tribesman added, go deeper and you'll reach the poisonous forest. There are many other dangerous wild beasts there. Even the Mayo tribe doesn't dare to go there. The main character smacked his lips and thought, a forbidden zone. And yet they live in such a dangerous place. Ever since the blood cult appeared and started hunting their kind, they probably had no choice but to hide nearby. Seol Pung asked further, the reason people don't go there is also because there's a lot of poison. He confirmed, yes, Doc, no said so. They hate the smell of poisonous monsters. Their bodies are made that way. Later, a poison-sucking monster will appear among them, so he said to always be careful. The main character pondered, that old man named Doc No seems to know a lot about demons. The Mio tribe continued, when you eat, you have to apply this herb. If you don't, snakes and insects will find out and immediately attack. Then the young man sighed. Looks like we'll have to learn these things too. Seemingly understanding, the captain replied, so that's it. If we had come here on our own, without any preparation, it would have been a disaster. Just an hour away, walking, and the patrol route ends there. So it's because of the poisonous forest. Suddenly a strange sound was heard. What was that sound? An asked, startled. Seol Pung shivered. Oh, you're better off not knowing. So there's that thing here too. What is it again? An asked curiously. He whispered, there's a centipede bigger than a person. It's watching us from that forest over there right now. The young man laughed and said, a centipede bigger than a person. The main character thought to himself, could it be the flying centipede? The kind that can fly into the sky with the power of its tail. Then the Mio tribesman reassured him, it's probably not that. That one isn't very dangerous. It slams its tail on the ground and jumps high. Its mind is very sharp, it can recognize people. I gave it food before. After that, it stopped attacking, absolutely. But the main character still felt uneasy and thought, a centipede that can recognize people is dangerous enough. He asked again, so in the poisonous forest, what are the most dangerous creatures? He recounted what he had seen and heard. Go deeper and there are 7 hornets as big as a hand. Many of them move at the same time? Just one sting and you're dead. I haven't seen it with my own eyes, but I've heard about a spider with a human-like face, a pack of red-headed wolves, a snake as big as a fruit tree, but they're all very scary. The great yellow tiger bee, the human-faced spider, the blood cripple, and the poison-horned demon king are all real. The group was startled and thought, what is this place? This is too scary. Pisa-an asked further, why is there a place like this? Could there be dragons here too? The Mayo tribesman replied. I've never heard of that. Hearing this, Sa'an seemed a little relieved. Then that's some consolation, what a relief. Suddenly the Mio tribesman warned, that one is also dangerous. It's a black panther. It eats a lot of poison. Its fangs and claws have become deadly poison. It's huge and fast. Seol Pung followed his gaze. It seems that's the one. The Mayo tribesman looked at the black panther in front of him, looking worried. That one shouldn't be here. It originally lived deep in the poisonous forest. He calmly observed, and the Mayo tribesman silently waited. He took out a piece of meat and threw it in front of it. The panther just sniffed it a few times and ignored it. It walked towards the group. Here it seems that compared to the meat, our scent is more delicious. Ajin thought to herself worriedly, is it because we didn't apply the herb on our skin like you? What? Diane turned to Ajin. At times like these, it's a pity you've lost weight. Ajin. Ajin was on guard. What are you going to throw me out as bait and run away? Sa-an chuckled. You're quick-witted. Ajin acted quickly. Ugh! I'll run faster than you. To repay the kindness of the Pijong body technique. Immediately after there was a loud noise. The panther lunged and the captain also jumped back. Just as the panther attacked, Seo Pung unleashed a flurry of punches. Sa'an exclaimed in amazement. The Black Panther blocked the captain's punches. Am I seeing things? Without hesitation, the whole group drew their weapons and charged forward to attack. The main character and the young man swung their swords down. The Panther also turned to retaliate.